Yo, yo, CGL, Zo Santos, Mohammed, Jitterbug, AT Gate, Alien Vincent, the Mr. Carlos, Rolando, Giannis, Hienkekap Yakmo, Fit Ones with Varun, my man, how you doing? Lee, Jack, Newt, Dan Redmond, Wolfie's Torture Room, Fahad, Rwan, Peter Hernandez, Carlos Sanfilippo, D. Hawk, Old Pastrami, Matt Alexander, My LOL Game, Tony Montana, Pale, Mega Zoo Man. Yeah. Welcome to this random live stream, but I've been alluding to it for some time. Hopefully you're off early on this Friday. Many people, that's their situation. So I'm going to answer all your questions on what it takes to get shredded, describe my experience. Yeah, we had the buffet live stream. Yeah, it's going to be a buffet of questions. I'm going to give you all my time for the next 2 to 3 hours. Say hello to my little friend. Hey, Scarface, one of the best movies around. Classics never die. I'm already seeing some questions. 1:42 a.m. here, and I love it here. Hey, glad to have you here so late. At this time, it's 1:42 p.m. So we're on the opposite end here. My man DC, I'm at the gym doing some leg raises, bro. Well, you know what? I can be your little rest between sets. Say my name, Anime Motivation. Hey, that was my motivation to get jacked. You know, looking at those characters with the super wide necks, the crazy forearms. How you like it, man, by the way? You ever see forearms like that? I've actually been training them, like Larry Scott style. Actually getting over on the bench, doing the old school wrist curl. They're already enormous, but they're going to get even crazier. So stay tuned, guys. Okay, I'm seeing already a lot of people are in here. The questions are rolling in. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about my shredding journey very briefly. I'm not going to waste too much time, and then we can go into answer some questions. But the first thing I'll say is thank you so much for being here today and supporting me over the years. I've been making YouTube videos for a good decade now. You've seen me go from a late teenager to where I'm at now. So much in my life has changed, and you guys uplifted me. We've grown together as a community. The OGs are still around. Anyone new, I love you too. And we're just getting started with what's possible because there's so many amazing things on the way. As you can see, the setup is already improved. It's nice and clean, black. You seem to be enjoying that. It takes me a lot longer to make these videos. You know, that's why I've only been putting up once a week. But I'm scripting. I'm filming on the side. I'm doing everything to make sure you have the best viewing experience. And so 400,000 people is a lot. It's estimated that within the next 5 years, I could hit 1 million. So that's assuming the same pace. And so far, it just seems to be going better than ever. Like ever since I had 300K followers, it's been impressive growth. So you guys made it possible. Your support, believing in my message. Because at the end of the day, I'm just a dude hitting barbell lifts in his home gym and some calisthenics, you know. But my message is pure. I want the best of intentions for you. I want you to match or surpass me, inspire the world to do better, join our noble natty cause. It's truly beautiful what we have going on here. So I got in this game to change lives, to give the information that I wish I had when I was younger. And I sincerely believe that if I knew this like from day one, I'd be a monster. Like by now, I'd be even stronger. Like I would have had this physique 3-4 years ago. So you can speed up that process by making sure everything's done right from day one. And if you ever have any questions, like I'm here for you. Hit me up. We're just going to keep on growing. See, I already get a weird comment like, you need to hop in the juice, bro. No. The point is to do better than the silver era greats. We're continuing after that point. What became the golden era, we're walking a different path. It's like going back in time. And that's what we're starting to see with the WMBF and our community right here on YouTube. With guys like Bald Omni-Man, Jeffrey Verity Schofield, Basement Bodybuilding, Natural Hypertrophy, the GOAT. He's arguably the one that put us all together. So it's awesome to see this. I think we're actually starting to get better physiques, but the silver era status is high up there. It's hard to beat Leroy Colbert, Steve Reeves. I mean, it's doable, but it's going to take a lot more time on our part. So anyway, thanks for 400,000 followers. I love you guys. You make my dreams come true, and I'm just going to keep delivering everything that I can. And now, with that said, let us talk about this shredding stuff real quick. And I'm going to start answering your questions. Oh, ads will run shortly for some viewers. I want to skip that ad. Ad skipped. There you go, guys. You don't have to deal with that BS. Okay. So first of all, last year I competed in natural bodybuilding, basically classic physique, which was the original category before it became this mass monster show, what we see today. In hindsight, I probably should have done full-on bodybuilding, because what I realized is that in the natty scene, there's really no difference in terms of the physiques. Like, it's just that you're showing up with the classic shorts and there's less poses. But natural bodybuilding is more complete. So I should have competed in both divisions, and maybe I actually would have won first place on that, right? And I probably should have gone with the WNBF as well, because the drug testing was stricter, and I've discovered in the last year that there were enhanced users at that show, which was my suspicion. I had called this out, but now it's like, there were some fakes. So that does piss me off a little bit, but I will mention that I actually had better physiques than some of those dudes, so that's awesome. It just goes to show that if you train for long enough, you can actually beat them on stage in some cases. Now, the only caveat is they were training at a fraction of the time that I was. So we're talking guys who juiced it up 3 to 5 years tops, and they look the same as me, who put in over a decade of training. It is what it is. But my physique is for life, and I can go up and down, bulk, shred, it's not a problem. And so I do this bodybuilding show, get second on my first attempt, look amazing, and this appetite just explodes, man. Like, I never felt like that in my entire life. I end up going from 150 pounds to like 180 within 3 months, if that. It was insane in terms of the weight gain. My stomach was so goddamn bloated, it was just exploding. I looked like an Oompa Loompa. Like, first of all, you're still orange. You have that lame tan on. And for the next 3 weeks, you're so hungry that you just eat. You're full, and yet you continue to eat past the fullness. It is impossible to be satiated, like our man right here, Floro for Music, is saying. That's a fact, bro. And so the first 3 weeks, you're kind of rebuilding your gut in a sense. You're stuffing your face. Oh, what happened here? Okay, we're good. Sorry. And you're going to be bloated 24/7. And so I didn't know that was going to happen to me. Dr. Mike did warn me of this. He's like, hey, have one cheat meal, call it at that, and slowly regain the weight. You can eat at a maintenance phase, but don't go nuts, right? But of course, I didn't listen because it was my first time doing a show. And so I ended up bulking up to bear mode like that. And that's when I grew out the big beard. And you know what? I got really, really strong. Within a month, I was basically 90% peak strength. So the rebound was crazy. But it's because the calorie surplus was off the charts. So I basically, it was a 6-month cut. And within like a month, all that progress was lost. I was already back to being a normal body weight, which was hard for me to accept mentally. But at the same time, it felt good, feeling strong and all that. And I ended up getting some amazing PRs shortly after. But I will say that it was probably the shortest bulk I've gone through. Not because there was a lack of progress or anything like that, but because mentally, I couldn't deal with it. Like, you're getting out of a bodybuilding show, you look the best you ever have, took all these months, and then, like, in no time at all, you're quote-unquote fat again. And when I say fat, obviously you're not. You can see the before and after. I have abs and everything. But it's like you're so fluffy. By comparison, you know, when you're single digit, there's not an ounce of fat. You can't even pinch your stomach. There's nothing there. You see veins in your chest, veins in your abs, striations everywhere. And to just shift that immediately was the most destructive thing I ever did to my mental health. It honestly fucked with me on a level that is hard to repair from. And that's ultimately why I ended up doing a second cut. The body dysmorphia got to me, guys. I'm just keeping it real with you. This is the third year in a row where I shred down. The first time, I maybe got to like 9% body fat. The second shred, I would say I got down to a proper 7%. And then this year, I matched it once more. Except because I had a pretty good bulk, just stuffing my damn face, dirty bulking style, I actually did put on a little bit more muscle. And I learned how to better keep it on the way down. And that's what I want to talk about today. How I got down to that low body fat, looking better than ever, keeping more strength, and having the best physique of my life. And I should have competed, but there was a bodybuilding show 3 months after I got shredded. And it's like, you know what? I can't maintain that state for very long. And as you can see, looking at me now, I am not single digit body fat. I'm still reasonably lean. I mean, you can see it with the forearms and whatever. I'm jacked. Look, the bicep vein's still there. I feel great. Blood pressure's perfect. This is a very healthy body fat. And I'm wearing it varies between size 30 and size 32 pants. So even though my legs have blown up in proportion, right? The waist hasn't. So it's the first time where I gained a lot of weight back, quote unquote, and it didn't go to my stomach, which is odd in its own right. But I think it's literally just that I ate healthfully. I didn't bloat the fuck out of myself. And I have no inflammation in my body. I don't have as much visceral fat either. So, and it's not like I regained all of it either. I'm in the low 170s. So from 155 to low 170s, okay? It is what it is. We're talking like 15 pounds, right? Which I think is reasonable considering I got shredded in May. Anyway, long story short, it's 3 years in a row that I do a serious bulking cut, and I've gotten better and better. And now, I basically got it figured out. And Dr. Mike even told me, the more times you shred, the easier it gets. And that's an absolute fact. In fact, this was the easiest shred of my existence. It wasn't difficult at all. I could do it again. If you make me shred today, I can get down to that same body fat in maybe 2.5 months tops. I don't need to do long cuts anymore. I don't plan on dirty bulking or anything like that. I am healthy, but it's a joke, okay? And really what did it for me, guys, was following a 100% plant-based diet, which was the opposite of what I did last year, which was a low carb, eating a lot of Greek yogurt, egg whites, and horse meat, believe it or not. Guys clown on me for saying that, but it's the truth. That's what I did, And so I followed a high carb diet. Literally, we're talking between 60 and 70% carbs. Fat was on the lower side simply because it was difficult to include things like avocados and nuts when it's so calorically dense. And then the protein was just baseline, which is what the evidence says is best. Audio is whack? What? Hold on a second. That should not be happening. I'm using the Shure SM7B. You can't hear me. This should be very good quality, guys. It doesn't get better than this. Bro said, I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. Yeah, audio is good. Audio is good. Yeah, man. This is the microphone that Michael Jackson used, So it doesn't... Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Skill issue. All right. Yeah, YouTube can glitch out sometimes. My bad. Very low, although I'll max out my phone. I can increase the gain just a little bit. 1 second, boys. Here, I'm going to slightly increase it. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. I just can't speak too loudly or else it's going to peak way over. So, should sound better now, yeah? Audio is low in mono. It is mono. That's the thing. All right. Yeah, I don't sound like him. Hell no. Lowered the gain a bit. Okay, 1 sec. Boom. Sounds better. Too noisy. Is this okay? I'm peaking at around -9, -10 dB. Okay, great. If you guys have any issues with it, you let me know and I'll adjust it on the spot. Making him DJ. Hell yeah. So what was I talking about? I lost my train of thought. I was discussing, oh yeah, so I switched to a high carb diet, low fat, and first let me answer this question of Mihai. Why were you eating horse meat? That was last year. The reason is you want a low fat diet in comparison to the protein. The fat really adds up. It's 9 grams. Sorry, every 9 grams. See, my brain's not even functioning yet. We're gonna get warmed up. It's 9 calories per gram. And horse is like the leanest meat you could possibly eat. And it also contains a lot of minerals. So that's why I ate it. It's legal here in Montreal. I think in the States you can't. But that's what I did. And it worked great. At first I had been eating ground turkey as well as chicken breast. But the horse is actually better. If you look at the nutrients, like the macros are unmatched. So that's what I did, you know. But like I'm saying, in this year, 2024, I switched to a vegan diet, 100% plant-based, because of the evidence, in addition to the ethical implications. So for me, it's a combination of both. Now, I'm not going to force anything onto you guys. I'm not telling you to go vegan. I think it's the best move for you to make, but I can have an objective take on things. My simple advice would be to lower your saturated fat intake, because that seems to be the greatest predictor of heart disease development. And so you should be having leaner cuts of meat if you're going to continue to eat that stuff. And you shouldn't be abusing the cheese either. If anything, lower your red meat intake and cheese, and you will be in a much better place. That's all I'm going to tell you. But if you want the ultimate diet, plant-based is the way to go. Whether you follow more of a Blue Zones approach, 80-90%, or you go all the way like me, you do you, okay? But I'm just saying, this is the best I've ever felt in years, and I got down to 7% body fat with a better physique than ever, effortlessly. And I look healthy. I have no wrinkles whatsoever. The only thing that ages the fuck out of me is my balding head. Like, it is what it is. I'm like a Norwood 3.5. My hairline sucks. You know, I do shave every day, so that makes it worse, you know? But my face, you see when I clean shave, I'm like, you can't beat this. I'm sorry. So it's great. And basically, just by me going plant-based, I immediately went down from like 187 to 170 without thinking about anything. Like, I didn't care. Like, I wasn't tracking. I wasn't being too mindful of what I was eating necessarily. I'm just living my life, eating proper foods, and boom, cut down 15 pounds like that. And what I want to tell you guys is that it's not water weight. In fact, it was never days where I came in heavier. It was literally every day you weigh in the same, because I kept my carbs high the entire time. So there was zero fluctuations. It was consistent every single week. I could see the weight going down by a pound or two, and I took my sweet ass time, not even trying to aggressively cut. And that's why it did take half the damn year. You know, I really it was just a natural cut. Let me eat the way I'm supposed to, and things will even out. And that's what happened. So once I got down to around 170, okay, now let's start to get more crazy. And this is where I introduced the daily burpees. So being from Canada, it's very cold over here. We're talking minus 30, minus 4 degrees Celsius. And I remember that in 2020, there were a lot of channels like Iron Wolf who were showcasing these conditioning workouts. That's hundreds of burpees a day, right? And I had done that last year as well. It worked tremendously. And it's a punishing thing to do on your system in terms of all the muscles burning in the upper body. And it's even more difficult than running. Like, if you could do a 300 burpee workout, like, I promise you that is infinitely more difficult than running for 60 minutes, even at a decent pace. And I know because I've done both. And like in the same time, and the burpees will just trash you like there's nothing else. And the way I do it is the prison style. So if you check out Burpees King, the YouTube channel, it's essentially the rocking chair form. What you do is you touch your tippy toes, do like a deep knee bend position while you raise a hand, then you kind of do like a plyo push-up into it. And then you jump back up on your feet, hit the stomach, and continue. So you end up with this really good rhythm. Excellent if you're listening to old school gangster rap as well. So Actually, I would exclusively listen to Tupac when I'd be doing that shit. So every morning, I'm hitting my burpees. I started off at 125 right off the bat, and then it became 150, 175, 200, 225, 250. At the peak, I was doing 300 burpees a day, and it was very difficult. It took me, I think, 67 days straight to get to that point. And after that, I started developing like overuse issues in my shoulders and wrists. So I'm like, okay, I'm probably gonna snap my shit up if I don't stop doing this, because I was doing an excessive amount, right? But my cardio became so good that when I switched to doing just regular running, I would never get out of breath. Like, it was basically impossible. So I'm out here on the treadmill at speed 8 to 9, and I'm going there for an hour, and I don't feel shit. Like, I'm not getting tired at all. So the burpees was the best thing I ever did for my conditioning, and it burnt a lot of calories. And I don't know what happened, but it was like a whoosh effect of sort. I was probably creating so much inflammation and fatigue that when I switched over to the running, I immediately dropped another 5 pounds like that. So like from 170 to 165, it was just like quick, right? And then from there on, usually when I hit that state, that's like 12% body fat. And I found that I need to track calories. So what I'm saying is, the entire journey, I didn't really track much. I'm just eating whole plant foods. I'm not going out much in terms of cheat meals. Eating as much carbs as I want. Not caring. Still training my ass off, right? Same exact programming. Lifting heavy, using the max effort method, all that. And then I hit 165, I start the Road to Shredded series. And you can literally see those workouts that I followed. You can mimic them 1-to-1. And at that point, I start dropping the calories. I ended up lowering it down to 1,800. And from there on, you lose another 10 pounds of fat, which took, I would say, 2.5 months or so. Man, you're shredded to the bone. But I never went lower than 1,800. And because I know what happens when you do that. Your life goes to hell. You just have no energy to do anything. And so I compensated by increasing the cardio, actually doing it twice a day. So I became a hybrid athlete of sorts. I stopped training my legs, which you will see in the Road to Shredded. It was literally just push-pull, doing dips, pull-ups, bench presses, stuff like that. And then the legs, I'm going out running every day, twice a day, morning and night. Usually, it would be 3 laps around the park. So that would take 10 to 13 minutes per lap. And if I felt really good, I would do a full 60 minutes. So I was probably averaging like 50 kilometers a week. Again, you're not supposed to do this in the bodybuilding context. It's better to do like 15,000 steps a day and just moderate your caloric intake, right? But I'm out here training my legs barely, maybe once a month at most. I don't see any differences in their size, which is great. And I'm just doing cardio. A lot of running, 1,800 calories, and I'm seeing the weight gradually drop. And I kept the carbs up until the last 2 weeks or so, just to deplete myself fully. Then you follow it up with the peak week. You slowly reintroduce the carbs, the muscles balloon. You go in the gym, pump up. I didn't do that stupid spray tan. Instead, I follow Steve Reeves' protocol. I ate a fuck ton of raisins, like handfuls of this stuff, maple syrup on some vegan Eggos, you know what I'm saying? And boom, best physique ever. But the training didn't change, and the diet was just whole plant foods, getting at least 120 grams of protein a day, cardio twice a day. That's about it. A joke. Such a joke. And the fact that I was able to do that much cardio towards the end speaks volumes on how effective this protocol was. I think it's because I had energy, guys. Like, when you do a low-carb diet, first of all, a lot of the weight you lose is not even fat. It's just you depleting your muscles of glycogen and then all the water weight, right? So the moment you introduce those carbs, you see a quick rebound. You gain 10 pounds in like that, right? Well, this was the first time that I didn't have any rebound of sorts. Like, you go from single-digit shredded, so the lowest state I got to was 151.5, but that's like depleted, right? In actuality, I was like 155, So you go from 155 to 165, but it takes like a month and a half for that to happen, which is insane. Compare that to low carb approach, and it can happen within a couple days. And I know because last year, I literally went from 150 to 163 in 3 days. And you saw this on the live stream of that time. And so what you're actually losing is true fat, actual fat, guys. And I'll tell you, it got difficult for me when I hit 158 body weight. That's when I had to be like super precise. But overall, I would say 90% of the cut was literally just following a whole food plant-based diet, very generic, high carb, doing my burpees, and then towards the end, increase the running a little bit. And the results were magnificent. Now, in terms of the foods themselves, so basically, every Sunday, I do this big bean batch, right? Yeah, 150 to 163 in 3 days, rhinoceros bulk. That's what I'm saying. It's a lot of bloat, inflammation, right? Anyway, every Sunday I do this big bean batch where I combine chickpeas, black beans, and kidney beans. So I'll do like 1,000 grams in the Instant Pot, put that on for 70 minutes, and you got like 2 massive Tupperwares that you could use for your meals. So in a generic state, right, what I did to get down to 165 was basically oatmeal with berries for breakfast, with some flax seeds and chia seeds, an ounce of walnuts, and a protein shake. Lunch, you have an arugula salad with some beans mixed in and some hemp seeds. Optional protein shake again if you so need to. And then supper would be a starch-based meal, which was usually potatoes. Because let me tell you guys, potatoes will get you shredded as a motherfucker. Try having 500 grams of potatoes in one sitting that you just boiled or put in the oven without oil. You see, when guys are like, oh, I've been eating potatoes all my life and I've never been able to lean down, it's because you're soaking it in fat. That's the real reason. You're having fried potatoes. You're having chips, which, hey, we all love, right? But the moment you remove your oil, and I'm including the salads, right? Zero, not a drop of it. You're getting hundreds of less calories a day. Like, just to say, I used to tell guys to drink olive oil to gain weight. I did this when I was 17 years old. So it's like, you having this oil, it does nothing for your appetite. It's just rapidly absorbed into the bloodstream. You're still hungry. And for what? A bit of extra flavor? Like, I'm not saying that things like olive oil is bad for you. No. Especially if you're underweight, it could be to your benefit, right? But if you're trying to shred down to single digit, you got to get rid of it. It's as simple as that. So, no oil, a lot of starch, a lot of dark leafy greens, berries, and then you can also having a lot of TVP, which is texturized vegetable protein, and lentils. So let's say that was my supper, right? I have an additional meal after that point, at the most, which would be like a lentil curry with some TVP mixed in. So literally, you just chop up some onions, garlic, lentils, and a dark leafy green of some kind. You mix that with the TVP and the lentils, right? Just have that straight. And then the leftover potatoes that you cooked beforehand, you just mix that in and you're good to go. So that's literally all you got to do. And then if you're, and the berries is what you want to eat because they're the most satiating. Strawberries are number one. So that's essentially the diet. You can also have soups, which is what I often did. Yeah, arugula over spinach for sure because the oxalate content, and it's going to promote better blood flow through the nitrates, right? So these are the foods that I ate every day. And the Costa Rican soup was instrumental as well, which is essentially a longevity soup, which consists of yuca, sweet potatoes, regular potatoes, peeled zucchini, carrots, corn, cilantro, sazon, and a couple other things. What else? You can add an optional tomato if you want to. You can add like a can of beans if you want as well, or your leftover beans, like black beans or whatever, a mixture, right? But you have that Costa Rican soup, bro, you can have the whole thing to yourself. A pot that's this massive, like a 5-liter pot, right? And it's max 1,800 calories for the whole damn thing. Is this pre-recorded? No, it is not. I'm doing this right live. I'm going to answer your questions once I'm done explaining things to you. Yeah, and then watermelon might go fruit. Yeah. Fruits that are high in water content, or just in general, foods that absorb water. That's what you want to be eating. Oh, what are your thoughts on tofu? Yes, that too was a part of it. So if I didn't feel like going bean only, I can use tofu as the main thing. But again, no oil, right? Tempeh as well is a good option. So that's basically what I ate, guys. Every single day. No refeeds, no diet breaks, none of that stuff. Easiest cut. Just eat whole plant foods, follow a longevity approach, and you're good. And of course, in my coffee, I would put soy milk or have it black. So that's what you eat. And then towards the very end of your cut, you just cut out the oatmeal and you have a little bit less potatoes because you need to drop the calories further reduce those carbs, right? Because when you're on a plant-based diet, it's never going to be like 100% carb free. It's basically impossible because when you have things like beans, you can argue it's a carb source first, protein secondarily. So even when you're depleting, it's kind of hard to fully deplete unless you kind of go the processed route or you compensate by doing extra cardio, which is what I did. So if you're doing a lot of burpees, a lot of running, and then you're just cutting out like the direct carbs, like it's still gonna have a depletion effect, is what I'm saying. But of course, it'd be better if you can isolate it to like a pure protein. So maybe towards the end, you could have more shakes, and so like you can have like protein shakes and tofu and tempeh and kind of minimize your bean intake, minimize your fruits, minimize the potatoes. But that's literally at the absolute finale. Like it's the last 2 weeks. Okay? What I'm saying is you can get to single digit without that shit. When I was 155 and you see in the transformation video, I did that on a very, very high carb diet. It was the final ounce. And I would go in the sauna as well. I did everything to try to deplete. That was the difficult part. But otherwise, what I'm describing to you right now, I mean, that's what did it. So, I'm eating the same way now, just in higher quantities. Did you have protein bars? Nope. Just protein shakes. What about sweet potatoes? Excellent food. Actually preferable over white potatoes because of the carotenoid content. Purple is best. You should be eating those. That should be your staple carb, actually. What is your maintenance calories right now? I don't know. I'm not counting. But I would say that I'm probably getting 3,000 calories a day, or like in the 2,500 to 3,000 range. I've gained some weight. It is what it is. Because I realized that the body dysmorphia went too far. And I do care more about feeling my best. I actually felt pretty good in that low body fat condition, but it was difficult to maintain, Oh, your mic is low. God damn it. 1 second. Do you hear me better now? You're on a cut with no counting until I got to like 12% body fat. That's when I started counting. You're going to see in the replay. Not counting calories keeps you big as hell. It does. You know how it is, guys? The harder you train, your appetite will naturally increase, and that'll dictate what you should be eating. And in general, this is usually how I go about my bulks. I rarely count. I only count calories when I'm cutting at the extreme edge. And I'm just keeping it real with you. Like if you're in a caloric surplus, you're going to get all the nutrients that you need. You can't not. Okay, we live in the modern day society where there's such great foods out there. And if you care about your health, you're going to be fine. So it's like there's every option that you ever want to, okay? At what body fat and what weight did you start feeling unhealthy from being too lean? Below 9%? Yeah, I would say about 8%. I felt good at 9%. I felt good most of the cut. I was still making videos. Everything was fine, It's just it's hard to maintain because you're eating 1,800 calories, bro. Like, that's not what we're meant to do, especially if you're carrying a lot of muscle and you're strong. And again, I didn't like the fact that I was weak according to my standards, Like, A lot of people, it's their lifetime goal to bench 3 plates, right? I did that shit years ago. And I went from 315 for 10 to 315 for 1. So even though you can argue pound for pound, it's amazing. Great demonstration of it's like a double body weight bench, right? In a deficit on top of that, you're depleted. I felt weak. I'm like, this sucks. I don't want to bench 3 plates. I can't, guys. Not when I've done 4 plates. I won't accept it. And the thing is, you don't look big. I look bigger now. I'm stronger now. My clothes fit better. It's literally when you take the shirt off and you have the perfect down lighting. Like in the gym, I have this room where it's just dark and gritty, real berserk vibes. You go in there and you look like you're on some shit. But if you see me walking down the street, if you see me next to an average person even, okay, keep in mind, I'm 5'5". You have a guy who's below average height, who's weighing in at 155 and wearing medium clothes, essentially, with 30-inch pants. Do you think he's going to look big? Like, seriously. The people who are shredded are fucking small. And the guys on social media, it's even worse because they're often weighing even less than me. I see some influencers weighing in at 135. And it's like they'll put themselves real close to the camera and they'll try to look good, but I can see right through it. I know you're not big because I don't look that big when I'm 155. Big according to my subjective standards. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you're not supposed to be shredded, guys. Your body does everything to do. Your body does everything to fight against you. It's like your instincts are saying this is not the way. The extreme calorie counting, the immense amount of cardio, manipulating all your foods, like removing things that are actually healthy for you, like not eating your nuts and seeds because of the calories. Like, forget about that. Mistake. And you can be so much bigger and stronger. And this is what's holding people back from fulfilling their potential. And I said this years ago with some pretty popular influencers who've been shredded and they refuse to get out of that state. They're fucking themselves over. So that's why I don't really want to get shredded anymore. Like it's so, it looks great when you have your clothes off, but it sucks. You're weak, you're small. The audio is not good. 1 second. You know what? I'm going to take off safe mode and let's just leave the gain like that. So if I'm clipping, well, so be it. At least there's not going to be any issues with the safeness. So you let me know. Does this sound better? The audio is literally fine. I don't know why guys are complaining about the audio. Like, I got my interface right here. The gain is fine. I'm yellow, you know? So I've calibrated pretty well. It's literally the same the whole time, way better. Alex, you take turmeric. I put turmeric in my food. I put a lot of curry powder. Nothing wrong with taking the pills, though. Just make sure you combine with some black pepper. Audio fine for me, too. Okay, great. Are you still plant-based? Yeah, vegan. And I plan on staying this way. It's going to be 9 months in a week. So, Alex talks about potatoes while chilling in the abyss. ASMR. Yeah, potatoes would get you shredded as a motherfucker. Guys don't realize what's possible. All right. I keep losing my train of thoughts. What was I saying? What body fat are you now? I have no idea. Maybe 14%. Something like that. Where do you get that protein that isn't that bioavailable? So, Menno Henselman just made a video on protein intake. There was a new meta-analysis that came out, I believe. And Dr. Greger actually covered this beforehand. Oh, this is what Basement Bodybuilding was saying. Okay, yeah. I'm going to pin that, my man. Thanks for joining, by the way. So, you only need 0.73 grams per pound of body weight. And that's assuming, like, your total weight, which is still going to be nothing. So, for example, when I got down to 7%, I weighed in at 155. So 155 times 0.73 is 113 grams of protein a day. Does that sound difficult to get, guys? I was getting 120 grams, which is slightly higher than that, but it's still nothing. And the thing is, I'm basing this off what I weighed in at. But in actuality, it's off your lean body mass. So I don't know how much actual lean tissue I have on my frame. It's probably even lower. So let's say 140 is just pure lean tissue times 0.73. That's 102 grams of protein a day. So realistically, guys, for most people, I'm just keeping it 100. If you get 100 to 120 grams of protein a day, you'll be fine. If you can't make gains, your program sucks. Your calories are inadequate. Maybe you're not getting the right amount of vitamins and minerals, so you feel like garbage as well. And I want to point out that I got down to single digit, maxing out every week towards the end of the cut on 1,800 calories a day, 100% vegan, having less bioavailable forms, cardio in the morning, cardio at night, doing everything that you would think would kill my gains, and yet it didn't. And in fact, I had a better physique than last year when I was having double the fucking protein. So is protein a scam? Yes. It is a scam designed to sell you whey protein. This was a marketing ploy in the 70s. Whey was the leftovers of the dairy industry, and everybody fell for it. Because, guys, like, if you follow, like, the silver era guys they would just have steak and potatoes, and they called it. And what I would say is, most of you follow an omnivorous diet. You're getting your meat in. How in the hell could you be lacking in protein? And again, even if you were plant-based, it still wouldn't be an issue. And if you really are missing just that tiny amount, you have 2 scoops of protein powder a day. So just double down. That's usually what I'll do, 2 scoops instead of 1. And that's it. It's over. You don't have to worry about this ever again. It's the most overrated macro of all time. You should really be focusing on your micronutrients instead. And again, the evidence is continuing to support this position. It keeps getting lower and lower. At first, guys were like, okay, you need 1 gram per pound of body weight. And then Menno came out saying, okay, you need 0.8. And now it's 0.73. How low is this going to get? I wonder. But it's sure not, it's not what you think it is. I can promise you that. Alan Thrall said the same thing. Natural hypertrophy. All of us who've actually experimented with lowering our intakes see no difference. And not only have I lowered it, but I've done it on a vegan diet. What does that say? Why are you vegan? Are you a liberal? I am not a liberal. Just because I have this ethical belief and I follow an evidence-based lifestyle doesn't mean I lean on that end of the political spectrum. So that's a misconception. And again, I want to show you people that you can still have all your other beliefs intact while also being a vegan. I'm just saying. I'm a tough badass. There's certain things that I love that a lot of vegans would disagree with me on. And that's fine. We're allowed to disagree. Okay. Do you consume grains and breads? I do. Whole grains exclusively. Although I do have some white pasta here and there just because you can get it in bulk more easily. And I like to combine it with a nut-based sauce as well as vegetables. So I'm getting in so much protein, so much fiber already that I don't mind lowering the fiber intake on some of my grains. So what I'm saying is, like again, going back to the shredding thing, I was getting 80 grams of fiber a day in a deficit. Now, I haven't tracked it, guys, but I would bet money that I'm getting over 100 grams of fiber a day. And so if I switch some of those grains to non-fiber alternatives, like if I have a bit of white rice and a bit of white pasta, that's probably fine considering I'm already overdoing it. So you don't need as much fiber as I'm having right now. But, that's why you have to look at things context dependent. It's the same thing with the oil. See, tying nutrition to political beliefs is just stupid. Absolutely, guys. It's like, first of all, it's nutritional science first. The people who are talking about a plant-based diet, it's to reverse like serious health conditions. When Dr. Furman discusses it, people don't even know this about him, but I believe he was still eating lobster up until 10 years ago and oysters. But now, because the ocean has been so polluted, the bivalves are considered unsafe. So he's not going to mess with it. But he's not telling people to go vegan. He's saying a plant-based diet, a nutritarian diet, as he likes to say, where you're getting all your micros, all your phytochemicals, all the best caloric bang for your buck. That's how you should be eating to promote longevity. And in fact, we can do better in the blue zones if we eat in this way. So it's like health first, and then you start doing research on the ethical side if you want to. But it's, you can have empathy towards the animals. You can be an animal lover, but you don't side with political beliefs that have nothing to do with the vegan philosophy. Like, we see lots of guys like that. And that's what I want to see for this to thrive. I need to see jacked and strong natural lifters who are eating a whole food plant-based diet. Not just endurance athletes or hippies or... I don't fuck with that. Never have. And this is why the carnivore people have done so well. Is because you have your stereotypical macho dudes and they're attracted to the personality aspect of that. I don't know, Alex, you're making too much sense. Well, it's the truth. You know I'm right. It's because you're seeing all these skinny wimps and you're like, oh, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be a soy boy, quote unquote. Well, guess what? I'm a soy boy. I eat tofu every day. I have soy milk every day. It actually reduces your risk of prostate cancer. So maybe you should consider it. Drop your skincare routine. It's called being healthy. I don't do shit for my skin except for a basic moisturizer. I use the Marcel cleanser and then the moisturizer, same company. And oftentimes I'll skip it because I'll forget. So when I take my shower, I'll take care of that. But most of the time, guys, it's literally just eat right. Why'd you buy another Aquaterra? I didn't. American Psycho face routine. Check your T levels on a vegan diet. I don't know what any of my numbers are, except for blood pressure, which I actually got it down to 100/60, which is crazy as hell. You still have 17-inch arms on a cut. They sure look that way. No. These are, I don't know what they are right now. My forearms are huge, though. Look at that. See that? Look at that. I don't have 17s at the moment. The reason why they might look that way is because I'm a shorter guy. I'm working on it, though. Morgan NH with the blood pressure. Yeah. It's probably the way he's eating, man. With the croissants and... it's overall not bad, but in my opinion, he needs more vegetables, more whole plant foods. Again, it's about getting the best caloric bang for your buck. Do a physique update, Alex. Not yet. The day we see this YouTuber with 19-inch arms, I don't think it's going to happen. Just because of my height. In fact, if we look at basement bodybuilding... Oh yeah, I'll get back to his question from before. He got 18s, but he's also got a 6'4" wingspan. Which is crazy as hell. My wingspan... So I actually measured it right after watching this video. It's hard to say what it is exactly, but it varies between 5'8" and 5'11". Like, it depends how you measure it. Like, if you're doing it with the fingers fully extended, or... I'm also double jointed, which could affect it a bit. Well, I have hypermobile joints, right? So I don't know what it is, but it's at the lowest, it's 5'8", So my arms are longer than my height. And I guess that's why people will look at me like, you don't look that short. Well, I have a long torso. I have a wingspan that's greater than my height, but then I got these fucking short femurs. I basically have the perfect squatting build. But I don't have the perfect benching build, contrary to popular belief. Although it's my favorite exercise besides the weighted pull-up. There's people who are stubbier than me. Like, if you look at Jeff Nippard, he actually looks a lot shorter. It's because of those arms, I would say Dr. Mike has shorter arms than me as well. And maybe even Alexander Bromley. But I don't have that stubby look. You know what I'm saying? You're built like a minion. Who knows? Talk about burpees. Burpees will get you shredded, man. What I would recommend is just doing 125 every morning. And you can literally do it nonstop, guys. As long as you take your time, that's all you got to do. You know, people say there's a 12-minute run. Like, that's enough to maintain your list cardio. Well, it's the same with the burpees. And you'll reduce overuse injuries in this way. Like, check out Burpees King. He's going on like 4 years doing them every day. You could do it every day if you want like really good fitness. Otherwise, every other day, or spacing it out in a way that doesn't hurt your pressing workouts is best. Didn't all those burpees and running kill your recovery? The running, not so much. You would think that it would, but no. And, I did do a lot of track back in the day, so maybe that's the reason. But the burpees, yes, at the end. I noticed that my shoulders and wrists were starting to take a beating. But I was still able to bench 3 plates while doing all those burpees. Actually, I did it with a reverse grip, basically borderline shredded. So the problem is it does mess your recovery if you do too much volume. Like it will. It's inevitable. And right now I'm not doing any burpees because I'm trying to maximize my benching performance. I actually dropped all the cardio for the most part. I'm just doing brisk walking. And that's what most bodybuilders generally do. I would love to do more running, more of the Iron Wolf type stuff, but when you're in a strength phase, you got to be a bit more specific, and it could affect the adaptations a bit. Okay. And by the way, for the super chats, I'm probably going to answer those a little bit later because I want to make this live. Like, I see your questions right here, and I'm answering them as we go. I love that. And then I'm just going to do a rundown of the ones where you paid for. So thank you for that. Can you turn to the camera? I always wanted to see you with a t-shirt on. Well, you see me with a t-shirt. I'm pretty jacked up. You can see the back too. Just got to get on my knees. See that? Yeah. The Leonidas Strong tee. So it's like the fucking back. I mean, I'm jacked up, guys. I am a natural bodybuilder. You seen what I lift. I'm not gonna be small. Check out Barbell Apparel, by the way, for the sickest designs. Can you still look like a DL after 2 years of lifting seriously? Yeah, if you don't know what you're doing. But yeah, watermelon pecs. You watch anime? Yeah, I've been an anime bro my whole life. The only thing is, it's kind of sucking these days. And I don't know if it's that I'm outgrowing anime as I get older, or it's just the way they cater to the newer audience is different. But we've lost that grittiness. And I don't like the messages that I'm seeing as well. Like, it's really, I don't know, I kind of feel like it's designed for a very young audience. And it's a bit too joyful. And then there's too much high school stuff going on. Like, it's not, I don't feel like it has adults in mind, So I don't know if that's just anime as it stands. Of course, you have some exceptions here and there. Like, one guy just mentioned Vinland Saga for sure. Oh, Monster was amazing. Where's animes like that? You know what I'm saying? Where's animes like Berserk? Like a good shonen, a real like Dragon Ball Z level stuff. It's all garbage nowadays. It's all these wimpy characters that I don't resonate with. I'm disgusted with what I see. There's an anime for everything these days. It's just about making schoolgirl anime characters these days. Yeah, and it's like, even the way they talk, all these characters look the same. They all look like Kirito from Sword Art Online. None of them look masculine. Yeah, Baki's great. Yeah, Kengan Ashura for sure. I read the manga years ago. I finished Baki in 2013. And I didn't even realize that they came out with more until I spoke with Bald Omni-Man about it. Yeah, RIP Akira Toriyama. I wouldn't be here were it not for him. That's what motivated me. Solo leveling, I did enjoy it, but the message is not good, which Natural Hypertrophy talks about. Like, it's not going to be that easy. Jujutsu Kaisen's not your cup of tea. It's not, man. I saw the first season. It was okay. The second, I'm like, after 2 episodes, not. I can't do this shit. Oh, Fist of the North Star. Oh, that's like one of the best of all time. That's what I'm talking about. Where's the animes like that? As we used to call it, manime, you know? I'm just tired of all the soft stuff. Yeah, I've seen Hunter x Hunter, for sure. Jojo was good, but then it started getting weird with all the stands, and it started getting a little bit too, I don't know. After Diamond Unbreakable, can't say I was a fan. I stopped watching it. Cowboy Bebop, that's a cult classic. Oh, Yu Yu Hakusho, for sure. Oh, Ashita no Joe, yes. Hajime no Ippo, of course. You guys already know what I'm talking about. Kenshi, yeah, it was okay. But again, he's still kind of soft, you know. Parasite, of course. Oh, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Man, you gotta watch that once a year. Demon Slayer is okay. They do a good job with the animation itself, so it's worth watching for that reason. But there's better stories out there. Which Dragon Ball Z saga was your favorite? Frieza, hands down. Oh, Megalobox, yeah. Death Note, yeah. That's anyone who wants to get into anime, they should watch that first. Gurren Lagann, yeah. Attack on Titan, of course. I mean, you guys know what's up. Mob Psycho was good. I agree. Man went back to 1970. Yes, and you have to watch the original one, not the remastered version. Hellsing Ultimate. Yes. You guys get it. We're all on the same page here. Let's go. But that's what I'm saying. So you just listed a bunch of legendary animes. Like, they all have my seal of approval. And nowadays, it's garbage. None of the shows resemble anything that I can't watch it, man. I'll be honest, even One Piece is kind of changing. I'm starting to lose interest in it. So I'm taking my sweet time with the anime. I'm not rushing through it in this final stage, you know. I like Chainsaw Man. That was a good one. All right. Let's Cell Arc. Cell Arc was cool just for Gohan and the hyperbolic time chamber. But the Frieza saga had the best character development, if you ask me. Never seen Classroom of the Elite. Again, I don't like that high school stuff. I just spilled some water on me. My bad. All right. Okay, guys. Let's get back to some Samurai Champloo. You're getting me carried away here. Let's get back to some questions. Oh, as a fellow short guy, Vegeta was always my dream physique, lol. Yeah, I used to be stainless steel, 100%, guys. I do everything stainless steel, including my cookware. Sometimes it sticks and it's a little bit of a bitch, but hey, health first, right? I don't want anything in my system that I don't, Vegeta. So I used to be a Goku fan when I was a kid. And then I rewatched Dragon Ball Z at 16. And Vegeta and Piccolo were... I love their personality. Like, they did it for me. So I've been a fan ever since. I just resonate more with their characters of overcoming the struggle. And like being at the top, but then they kind of get overtaken and they're still trying to level up past that point. And their protector mindset as well. All right, dressing up as Krillin this Halloween. I might do Kratos. If I grow out the big beard again, get some good paint on me, I would actually look the part. Just be a shorter version. Focus, Alex, focus. Yes, I'm sorry, guys. Oh, okay, here's a good one. Do you think sparkling water and diet soda is useful for getting shredded? It is, but with one caveat. Make sure you're buying the caffeine-free alternative, because or else you can have insomnia for days. Like, this is one of the major issues I see with guys who get down to single-digit body fat. They're drinking coffee like there's no tomorrow to suppress their appetite, and they're also having Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi or Diet Ginger Ale, whatever it may be, right? And that is screwing them over, because if your sleep is disrupted, that's going to lessen your energy even more. Like, if you're getting 5 hours at single digit, it's game over, guys. You're never going to recover from that. So I would recommend, like, you're very careful before buying it, and also make sure it's a freaking diet. because last year I made the mistake. I got regular ginger ale, and I noticed the next day I was looking really full, and I was like, fuck, this was supposed to be my depletion week, So I messed that up, but I did manage to rebound, but then, I had to do more high rep stuff and whatever. Do you think milk and dairy is unhealthy? I do, because of the high saturated fat content and because the protein itself can raise IGF-1. When people talk about something being anabolic, you can say that's good for muscle growth. Sure, but it's not lifespan promoting. And that's the issue I have with it. And not to mention that 60 to 70% of people are lactose intolerant. And we always have to make a comparison, right? Compare it to what? Like, if you're just going to have skim milk instead to reduce the fat content, you can say that's a much better alternative. Realistically, you're probably not going to get heart disease doing that, but you're still raising IGF-1, and I would still say that having soy milk is the better choice. So that's what we're talking about here. Raw meat, raw milk and raw meat and all this stuff, I wouldn't recommend any of it. You're asking, you get one bad batch and you're done for. You can actually die from that. It's irresponsible to be promoting that. There's a reason why Louis Pasteur came out. What is his invention? It's not some conspiracy, guys. Yeah, saturated fats will raise your LDL cholesterol, which is the primary risk factor for heart disease. It's an independent risk factor. And you want to get it between 50 and 70 nanograms per deciliter to not die from a heart attack when you're older. But that's what will do it. Cottage cheese is a lot better because of, it's casein protein and there's less, in general, there's less fat content in it. And it's filling. You can have the whole thing and you're good. Same for Greek yogurt. But again, you're raising IGF-1 and that might not be good in the long term. Yeah, saturated fats are bad. That's what every nutritional expert in the world agrees upon. The only people who disagree are the carnivore cultists. Even the keto advocates are starting to realize they made a mistake. Like, look at Thomas DeLauer. He admitted this after all these years of promoting that diet. Lane Norton will say the same thing. If you look at real experts in this field, there is no controversy. There hasn't been any. It's a unanimous decision. Everyone is in agreement. It's literally a fringe minority of people who say that saturated fat is good for you. They're the ones who are actually crazy and who will cause you to end up with health problems later down the road. I'm not going to side with those motherfuckers. It's as simple as that. You don't eat red meat at all? I don't. How low have you gotten LDL on whole food plant base? I don't know. I haven't done a blood test in years. But the first time that I was consuming a lot of eggs and dairy and whatever, my LDL was borderline high, right under the limit. But I can tell you that I got my blood pressure down to a perfect amount. It's never been that low before. And it's continued to stay low even as I've gained weight because I've lowered my sodium intake to FL. And because I don't consume any saturated fat for the most part, yeah, you have some mock meats here and there that are more coconut based, right? But because I primarily follow a low fat diet for the most part, 15%, and I'm getting it only through monounsaturated fats, through walnuts and whatever, and seeds, I would imagine my LDL is pretty damn low. And just to say, my girlfriend who used to have normal cholesterol levels, and as we know, normal means you're at risk for heart disease, she started eating this exact way, minus the fact that it's more of an Adventist approach in the sense that she might have fish once a week or whatever when she goes out, right? She took her LDL from normal to 60 nanograms per deciliters, which basically makes you heart attack proof. Now, I would imagine if she cut out the fish, she'd probably be even down to 50 nanograms per deciliter. Just saying. You have a girlfriend 5.5 years, my bro. I just keep my private life private. I don't share anything about what I do. But there's something that I will be sharing with you guys soon. In a couple of weeks. Stay tuned. It's a big one and it's going to change the future of this channel forever. So trust. You're already getting somewhat of a glimpse of that with the setup I got in the background. Okay? What do you think OnlyFans know? Yeah, you guys are making some assumptions here. But you're not correct about that. Okay, but it's leading to that. There's a step before, if you catch my drift. Okay, so that's what is going to be happening very soon in the coming weeks, and I'll let you know, and you're going to see it. Okay, let's get back to answering some questions. One guy got it. One of my OGs knows. You missed my super chat. I'm going to get back to that. Don't worry. I would pay money to see you oil up. I'm not going to. Well, actually, I did oil up in my freaking transformation. I mean, how do you think you look so good under those shiny lights? You got to do it. At least I didn't have the stupid tan on. Like, hey, make sure you guys check out Atlas Power Shrug to see his opinion on it. Natural bodybuilding has really lost its ways. I feel like I actually came in looking like a Greek statue this time because I didn't look orange like that. Although I'll tell you, eating those raisins, like, your skin will turn orange. And actually, I got a natural tan this time. So for the first time, I went outside doing my jogs, shirtless. You know, just wearing my barbell apparel shorts, no top, doing that run, and I got a nice even tan. I lost it since then, but just the sun and some freaking raisins will do it. Stop spray tanning yourself. It looks awful. I'm an OG, bro. What's good, Bilal? What meat do you consider healthy? I wouldn't say any meat is healthy, quote unquote. You could say it has a lot of vitamins and minerals, depending what you choose. And you're getting your protein, of course, but that's easy to get regardless. What I would say, though, if you are going to eat meat, because again, I'm not a biased vegan and I don't have this grand agenda. Like, I want you to go vegan. That would be great, but you don't have to. I would say, yeah, see, Ignacio already got it. Horse meat, bro. If you can get in the area, go for it. Any meat that is low in saturated fat. In fact, if you run a game meat diet, you're going to be much better off than eating the garbage that's sold in supermarkets today. So don't be eating a bunch of pork. Don't be eating a bunch of regular red meat. Stick to turkey, chicken, and horse meat. It's as simple as that. Like, I'm telling you, you will clog your arteries on a high saturated fat diet. Are you vegan at the moment? Yes. But if you're asking me questions and you're not gonna follow my diet no matter what, I cannot convince you. It's impossible. If you're not inquiring about that, then I'll give you the best alternative, which is gonna be a lean cut of meat. No, you don't want fatty steaks. Hell no. And I've been vegan for 9 months. It's gonna be in a week. I can be honest about this stuff. Deer meat is lean. Any game meat is lean, guys. Like, you're unlikely, but again, you shouldn't be eating that every day either. I would say at most twice a week, and the same would apply to fish. Roast chicken, you could if you remove the fat, sure, the skin and everything. Don't be like the vegan teacher and we'll be good. Look, I'm not trying to be overly imposing, but I do have strong beliefs about this stuff, and I think it is the best way to eat for ourselves, the animals, and the planet. And you're going to save a lot of money doing this. You're going to feel amazing. You're going to lower your biological age. Like, I'm excited for what the future holds. Like, when I hit 40, I'm pretty sure I'm still going to look like, it's going to look like I didn't age in a decade. I'm telling you right now, that's what's going to happen, because I already see that I look amazing. Again, it's just my freaking bald head, you know. But you see me with a cap on and clean shaven, I look like I'm early 20s. So anyone who's like, oh, Alex looks so old. No, dude, it's the Norwood curse that's doing that. Watch my recent video. You'll see. What do you think about seated good morning? Sorry for not answering that sooner. Not really a fan. It's good for the spinal rectors, but it's not going to do much for your glutes. For that, you really need to be standing or doing an RDL. So do I do seated good mornings? No. I'd rather you just perform a acid grass good morning, which is naturally going to have a bit less posterior chain, make it more spinal rector bias. And of course, if you do things like Jefferson Curls, that'll do a lot for you. No eggs, no, dude. I don't. I don't have any animal products. Like zero, guys. I'm vegan. Bro lost the Battle of Norwood. Yeah, I realized I wasn't gonna fight that. If I do though, it's gonna be SMP. Like there's a guy who does subtle SMP. He's somewhere in Texas. I will have to fly down to get there. I can also do some collabs with some OGs that I respect. If you know, you know. And I think that would be a good way to get that youthful appearance again, you know? Like if you get me a Norwood 1.5, maybe a 1 might be too excessive, and then I rock the clean shaven look, like I'm gonna look really young, you know? Head shaving tips. So I recommend you use a double edge safety razor. It's hands down the best. I use the Rockwell 6C, and you want to set your setting to number 3, okay? And you also want to use a brush in an actual bowl, the old school way. I'm gonna answer this question in a second. One sec. So you can get like Arko soap, like Turkish soap. Whip that up, spread it all over your head. Do one pass with the grain, and then do one pass against the grain, except for the sides. Well, the sides you can go against as well, but go this way. And then you're going to do one more pass. You're going to squeeze out what's remainder in your brush, put it all over your head, and you're going to want to go against the grain on the sides. And then work your way from the back again to cut out any spots, and it's going to be so smooth. It's literally like a baby. Like right now, if I'm touching my head, and I still got a lot of density, okay? I only feel skin. It's like I freaking waxed it. Like that's the closest shave you're ever going to get. Yeah, you might freaking bleed a couple times when because you have to master this technique, but you can do it every 3 days, and it's going to be super clean. You'll look the same year round. And then for those lazy days, you can get one of those like rotary blades. It's like 7 like round ones, and you just, you know, you go over like this. It's done in 5 minutes. So if you need to quickly get out of the house, look good, that's how you do it. My man Dev man, hi Alex, sauce must see you plant-based. Have you gotten any negative feedback? Many people assume your politics when you go plant-based. It's actually been quite good because I haven't been too pushy about it. I haven't made any nutritional videos. You know, I just mention it casually here and there. And people see the results. So it's like, how do you want to talk shit against a guy who is doing as good as me? They can't say anything about the strength. They can't say anything about the physique, including now as I'm bulking back up and everything is the best it's ever been at this body weight. So it's like every preconceived notion they had about the plant-based diet doesn't apply to me. So it's like I'm the exception, and they like that. They like that I'm just a down-to-earth dude that's remained the same. I haven't changed anything about myself, just that I refuse to eat animals. I love animals. I love the world, and I want to see it do better. And it's contradictory of me to be talking about living a long, healthy life, doing this naturally, but at the same time promoting a diet that is not evidence-based, that contributes to all these problems and is ultimately going to shorten your lifespan. So I want the best for everybody. I recommend this diet to my entire family, bro. And like I said before, my girlfriend did this with me. So it's like I want everyone to go plant-based because I know it's the best we have right now. Properly supplemented with whole plant foods, you are good to go. So I'm still the same man. There's nothing different about me. Just that I'm a bit more empathetic, and my worldview regarding the animals and all that has changed. But I just find it funny how people are like, they're going to follow all this science-based garbage lifting advice, which is done on fucking noobs, literally. Yet when it comes to decades of nutritional science among actual experts, we have thousands and thousands of studies. People documented hundreds of thousands of individuals, not just 20 people in the study that was done over 3 fucking months, but like really good science. And we can establish cause and effect in many instances. And we know what the risk factors are. We know how to prevent them, all these things. Somehow they don't want to follow that. They want to follow garbage exercise science, but they don't want to listen to nutritional science, which is far more established because it actually applies to all of us because we all got to fucking eat, right? That's where it blows my mind that people don't want to consider something like this. Like my man Jackson Stoic just said, yes, Michael Greger, read his books, and that might change your perspective. And you don't have to agree with everything they say, but I'm telling you, what people are saying nowadays in this fitness community is backwards. It is not what, like, we need to stay in our lanes, guys. Okay? I'm not going to start talking about MMA, endurance training in a traditional sense for running. What can I realistically discuss? Calisthenics, general strength, maybe some powerlifting stuff in a conjugate context. I have my specialties, right? Likewise, there are nutrition experts across the globe who dedicated their lives to learn this material. They went to school for this. And there was a consensus. And the consensus is a whole food plant-based diet is best. And it's that simple. I don't claim to be smarter than these guys. I don't want to be smarter than them. They already did the research for me. So I'm just following what they said is best. And all the boxes continue to be ticked. All that is positive, I'm experiencing to the letter. They say your blood pressure will go down. They say your cholesterol will go down. They say you don't need all this protein. You're going to age slower, extend your telomeres, do all these things. And so far, that's exactly what I'm seeing in the real world. And people who actually live this lifestyle seriously. So there's evidence and then there's conspiracy nonsense. Who are you going to side with? If you had a life-threatening disease, what would you do? That's the question. And the way I see it, you should follow a diet that aligns with all of your ethical beliefs while at the same time promoting maximum health. Okay? All right. Eating meat every day is a very bad idea, guys. Unless you're having a small amount, like 150 grams of chicken breast a day. But it's not what bodybuilders are showing. Like, I'm seeing dudes, it's like every meal they have meat. Like, what are you doing? It's excessive. Like, everyone has a typical bro diet. They'll have like scrambled eggs for breakfast, and then they might have some chicken breasts for lunch, and then at nighttime they might have some ground bison with some rice. And it's like, where's the beans? Where are you getting your vegetables? Where are you getting your fruits? Why are you eliminating foods that could do so much for you? Like, it's just, stop eating like bros, guys. Why go fully vegan instead of basic Mediterranean diet? It is obviously the best diet, seeing health and life expectancy in Italy, Greek islands, etc. It's not the best diet. A whole food plant-based diet beats it. And that's what the evidence says. Again, it's about, even when we talk about the Mediterranean diet, if you compare olive oil to olives, the olives have better health outcomes. So it's like, compared to what? We always have to ask that question. And the Mediterranean diet doesn't have it doesn't prevent and reverse heart disease like eliminating all your animal products does. Like, find me something that can match what Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn has done with his book and studies how to prevent and reverse heart disease. And even the blue zones, like, they're still 80 to 90% plant-based. So people have this assumption that if you're following a Mediterranean diet, and I'm Mediterranean myself, Greek and Italian, that you're eating lamb every day, that you're eating all this fish. Like, listen, my family who came here from Italy and Greece, like, they came here for a reason, because there wasn't much opportunities back then, right? They would have meat for holidays here and there. They were poor for the most part. They ate a lot of fruits and vegetables and whole grains and chickpeas. And they had animal products occasionally. Or if they did have it frequently, quote unquote, it was in small quantities. Like, we're talking about like a chicken pot pie equivalent. Not that you're eating a steak every day. Like, the American approach today is excessive. And people who are adopting that eating style, even when their families used to have all this health, they're starting to have health problems. We're seeing the newer generations that they're not doing well. And again, with the Mediterranean approach, you can eat all those foods. You can have your lamb and your salmon and all that, but it's not supposed to be every day in massive quantities. Certainly not eating like a bodybuilder. And it's predominantly the whole plant foods that are accounting for these health outcomes. It's the chickpeas, like, that in itself can give you 7 years of extra life. So, the antioxidants, the polyphenols, there's a lot of stuff, but it's not the fucking meat that's giving you these health benefits. It's not. And if people talk about the salmon, well, yeah, I agree, that's a much better option than having your meats. But you shouldn't be eating more than 4 to 6 ounces of fish twice a week. Not every single day, especially with the pollution we see now. So there's a simple answer to this. My man DOP, can I max out on a bench variation, a pull-up, and a squat variation on the same week on upper-lower split? So one lower day I don't max out. Like, basically, if you're running an upper-lower split, you can max out on the bench press first, hit some back down sets immediately after, and then go into a pulling movement like a weighted pull-up, hit a heavy single, do your back downs, and then your third exercise can be an overhead press, but you're just going to do regular sets and reps. Then your fourth exercise can be another pull, like an inverted row. And then, of course, you do biceps and triceps and maybe some rear delts and side delts, and you call it. So that's what you could do in the same workout on an upper-lower split. Or you can literally just, same routine, but on one day, you're going to max out on the bench. And then on the other day, after you've done all your bodybuilding work for your pressing muscles, you can max out on the pull-up. Like, the way I think it's better to do in the same session, though. It just gives you better systemic recovery. Because maxing out, like, it's going to take, you're going to need 72 hours of recovery regardless. And if you're, say, maxing on Mondays and Fridays, you might not feel the best coming into that Monday for, say, your bench press, even if you didn't max out on it on the Friday. What I mean is, if you're doing max effort bench on Monday and max effort pull-ups on Friday, the blending effect, there's still that systemic factor to consider. And so this is why I'd rather you do it all at once. You know? And then the squat, yeah, like that's basically what I recommend for those who aren't doing dynamic effort. Like, you can do a max effort squat, then regular sets and reps on deadlifts or good mornings, all your accessories, and that's it. And then the secondary lower body day could be hypertrophy only, where you're doing a lot of machine-based motions, hack squats, leg presses, and you don't care to be specific in a strength building context. Like, that's not required. Like, personally, what I used to do is you max out on a barbell back squat, you follow it up with 3 sets of 10 at 70%, then you do a good morning for 3 sets of 10, followed by belt squats, 3 sets of 10. And then you can hit some reverse hyperextensions and some Nordic curls. That's like the ultimate lower body day. Whereas the hypertrophy day, you can take a different approach. You can do a different barbell squat variation of some kind. Even off straps would be a great idea. 2 sets of 5 to 8. Then hit some good mornings, 2 sets of 6 to 10. Again, belt squat right after. 2 sets of 6 to 12. I like a bit higher on this. And then you can do leg curl, leg extension. Or reverse Nordic curl, followed by a cable leg curl. So this is how you can divide your sessions. But you don't have to max out every single session. And it doesn't need to be equal, especially if that's not your goal. Like, for example, I'm doing an upper lower right now, where it's upper on Monday, legs on Wednesday, and upper on Friday. So actually, I might max out tonight. We'll see. And usually, I will max out on the Monday, which gives me enough days to recover leading up to the Friday. And then my Friday will have different exercises. I'll lower the volume just a little bit. There'll be slightly less lengthened work because I know that I'm only getting the opportunity of Saturday, Sunday. So what I'm saying is it's not split evenly. What this means is my original approach of the volume day, intensity day was correct. And I didn't realize it was because you needed, like, the days were not split perfectly unless you're following an asynchronous split. It's the same for me, upper, lower, upper, yeah. But you see, I've made a choice now that the upper body is going to take priority, and I'm only maxing out on the bench press, nothing else. I'm not maxing out on pull-ups anymore. I'm not maxing out on dips, unless that's going to be the exclusive variation for that day. And I'm not maxing out on squats or deadlifts. I'm not even going heavy on them. Well, actually, deadlifts, I kind of find it's more efficient. Like, I'll stick to the 5 to 8 rep range, but I'll ramp it up. So I might do 4 or 5 for 5, 455 times 5, and then 500 for 5. And then maybe an additional set with 5.5 plates for 5 reps. So that's how I like to program my deadlifts if I'm doing that. But honestly, the good morning is even better. 2 sets of 6 to 10. It's all you need, you know. And I like the SSB because it's more difficult. You get more range of motion, whatever. But My lower body is bodybuilding only, and I'm kind of like fed up of going heavy on my legs. It's not necessary. Like, I did some heavy low bar squats the other day for some filming purposes. You know, doing 4 plates for reps, and it's like, it just feels like garbage. All you feel is your damn elbows, shoulders, and it's like, for what? You're getting, like, you're overloading for nothing. You're better off just doing a high bar squat, ass to grass. Slow down that tempo. Go deep on the pins, you know? Like, guys are ego lifting when they don't even care about powerlifting, and I don't care. Like, I'm looking at my legs right now. I got these shorts on. They're very impressive. Just my calves need work. And it's like, that's what I should be focusing on. You know, my calves, my tibs, my quads look great. I got that silver arrow look. My glutes are enormous. I got some gorilla action. It's like, what am I doing maxing out or like doing triples on low bar squats? Like, it's a waste of my goddamn time. You know, so I think I'm like really starting to be over this whole powerlifting thing for the legs. Like, I don't care at all, you know. But for the upper body, like, I am a bench bro at heart. I love maxing out on the bench. I do want to hit my 405 again, which is on the way. You saw me do a 370 Larson off of one board. You saw me do a 365 close grip, maybe RP8, probably good for 380. Like, it's right there, you know. I wouldn't be surprised if I peaked. You give me a month, I can do 405 at a lighter body weight, right? So, like, I'm an upper body guy, right? And I'm happy with my legs. I've squatted 507. That's pretty damn good, you know. Can deadlift 600 any given day. Right now, I could do it. So it's like, why am I crushing my legs with something I don't care about? That's why I train legs once a week. That's why I periodize my upper body only. So lower body is bodybuilding, and that's the way to freaking do it. And you know what? That gives me the opportunity to have more of a hybrid approach as well. I could do more running now if I so choose to. But for the time being, I won't, just so that I minimize central fatigue as much as possible. But to answer your question, yeah, you don't, just because you max out on upper body doesn't mean you have to also do that on lower. Like, that is some powerlifting propaganda. All right. My man, Elias AJ. Hey, bro, I'm running your novice program. Box squat 250, bench 180, deadlift 355. I do 45 pounds for pull-up. Nice. Linear progression has C's. Unless I'm in a calorie surplus, should I transition the program now? I would have said that you're an intermediate lifter. I like that your strength is quite balanced here. But because you mentioned that you still see gains in the surplus, that proves to me that you're still a novice. Even though you're lifting some great weights. Like, hitting that for reps, you got my respect. Like, you're upper novice for sure. And it's not going to be long before you've completely milked it out, okay? But it's like, yeah, I see your guys' comments. Don't worry, I'm going to get back to all the super chats. I figured out you can get them separately, okay? So don't worry about it. Just, I have to go through them. Like, they're just coming constantly, you know? So if anything, slow it down. My bad. But, yeah, dude, you probably have another 2 or 3 months left to milk out some progress. I would say with what you're hitting right now, you can probably at least box squat 275 for reps. Probably bench 205 for reps. And the deadlift, you know what? That indicates you have a pretty good structure. Like, the ratio that I'm seeing here, you're probably one of those guys who's going to get 405. At minimum, bro, 380. You're going to get it. I can promise you that. You know what? Just tell me in 3 months from now that you're doing it. Please confirm what I'm saying. You even mentioned you're 155 and you're doing Muay Thai twice a week. Like, bro, the pound for pound strength is through the roof. You're even doing cardio on the side. Like, fuck, that's amazing. That's very good progress. Good stuff, dude. Very good. Yeah, man. You have nothing to worry about. I think you just need to eat more food. Like, it's as simple as that. Embrace the surplus. Don't worry about it. And you'll get another 3 months or so of progress. And you're going to have the exact numbers that I just told you about. And actually, if you gain another 5 pounds, it might even be higher. But I'm gonna roll with what I just said. That's what you're going to be hitting. So please keep me updated because I see it happening. So another success story right there. Oh my God. We're getting a lot of questions. Much love, guys. I keep skipping the ads for you, by the way, because it keeps mentioning this, you know. I don't want you watching this crap right away. You can look at it at the later. Okay. Oh, Should I answer the former questions? You know what? Here, let me, 1 second, guys. Top chat. How do I access these? I did this last live stream. 1 second. I apologize. Please be patient with me. Fan funding. Here you go. I got them all. All right, we're going to go through these one by one, and then we're going to get back to these live questions. You don't have to ask anything right now. L Randall, thank you for the donation. Yo, Alex, wanted to tell you that I'm trying to surpass your bench at 45 years old and 155 body weight. I'm at 300 pounds right now, but I'm recovering from a herniated disc in my back. Give me 3 or 4 years and keep spreading the good truth. Well, thank you, OG. Doing that at 45 is respectable, and at 300 pounds, no doubt, I mean, you have that weight advantage, right? So 4 or 5 is quite realistic. If you look at the EXRX chart, which is like not even a competitive chart, EXRX 1 rep max bench, 1 second please. The bench press standards, if you weighed 319 pounds, elite would be considered 415. If you weigh 320, it's 425. If you're 275, it says 405 bench. So basically, let's say 300 pounds, 410 is quite realistic, assuming you're just an average 300-pound man. I know that sounds insane, but yeah, most 300-pound men who train seriously, follow my methods, can actually bench 405. The problem is if you're trying to do it at my body weight, you know? So I think it's quite realistic, and you're definitely going to hit it. Like, to me, it's guaranteed. So keep it up. And thank you for your support. Back to... Sorry, I'm trying to alternate back and forth. Fan funding. 1 second, guys. Oh, there's so many questions. Okay. Whoa. I'm a PhD candidate studying skeletal muscle biology and a lifelong off and on training history. Is it worth it getting to YouTube fitness space? If so, how would you go about this if you were me? It's always worth getting into it if you don't plan on quitting. Just look at Basement Bodybuilding. He came in maybe 2 years ago, started with nothing, and he's become one of the most important noble natties in our space. Like, he is the one that had the same issues that I had and overcame those plateaus in a fraction of the time. Like, he's the chosen one almost. Like, he got 18-inch arms. Like, that is an impressive natural achievement. And he's restoring proper standards as it pertains to not only measurements, but even body fat. He doesn't promote being shredded. It's not the way to go. Like, we need to make a return to bare mode and a healthy body fat. So, like, look at the amazing contributions, the critical thinking that has come out from his channel. You know, he hasn't exploded yet, but it's only a matter of time. And a lot of big channels are following his stuff. So if he managed to do it, and again, you have all these years to grow, then why don't you give it a shot, right? I'll support you. We're going to support you. This is a community, guys. We all want the best for each other. And the more people who are on board actually have a great physique and have the credentials to top it off, like, you'd be a perfect candidate. Like, if you're going to have a PhD, but you're going to embrace hardcore training, and you've seen all of our videos, you're in agreement, then it's like, we need you to come along, you know? Because a lot of guys are using their PhD to further support what they were researching. And I'm not going to name any names here, but it's quite obvious what's going on today. And I mean, all respect, that I would probably do the same, right? Given those circumstances. But if you have something more to offer, like, you're not going to be married to that PhD, but you have the information in the back burner, then that's great. Like, look at Matt Wenning. People don't know this, but he just got his PhD. So now they can't talk shit. Like, he's broken world records. He's been injury-free for decades. He's proven that the conjugate system works for all lifters. And now he has all the data to back up his claims. He's aware of the literature. He could share it with you. And it's like, he's basically unstoppable. So that's where you can use it to your advantage, so that people don't throw in a bunch of ad hominem attacks. My man, Ferepa 650. How many grams of protein on a cut? And do I go based on current weight or lean body weight? So honestly, guys, I don't think you should ever base it off like your total weight unless you're decently lean. If you're 20% body fat, like you should probably even reduce it by 20 grams or so if you're basing off that total load. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, 0.73 grams of protein per pound of body weight is all that you really need. And let's assume the average man lifting today at an average body fat weighs 180 pounds. I think that's pretty fair to say, right? You get 0.73, that's 130 grams of protein a day. Now, let's say you're a 200-pound man. 200 pounds. As you can see, I suck at math, but I don't expect anyone to be able to do that at the top of their head, right? That's 146 grams of protein a day. So most people, like, if you're getting 150 grams a day, like, you've tapped out. Like, I'm just keeping it 100. Like, how much muscle do you think you have? You know what I'm saying? So, again, it's very overrated. Eat whole plant foods and maybe have a protein shake or two a day. 2 scoops, you're done. 150 grams tops for most people. But I don't even need that shit. I'm good with 120, so I would experiment with lower amounts first. Thanks, brother. You deserve a ton of credit for getting my channel out there. You interviewed me at 2K subs and 4 months of posting. Talk about generosity. Hey, much love, brother. You really deserved it. Like, what you were putting out, I immediately spotted that what you had to say was worth listening to. Like, I knew you were going to make a difference. Like, there's not too many guys like you that come around these days. So it's an honor. Thank you for continuing to do this. We love what you bring forth, what you're showing us, and you're inspiring me at this point. Like, it's like, hell, you've surpassed me in the arm department. You're stronger than me on multiple lifts, and you prove that your methods and critical thinking worked. Like, results talk. You did it. Just that says everything, man. So I'm proud of you. You've done exactly what I envisioned you would do, but better. So keep it up. We're all rooting for you. And that's it, man. We should definitely do another collab soon. I'll keep you updated with what's going on with my situation for that. Okay. This guy asked if my 225 OHB was faked. I've already addressed that. Like, we're going back to what? 2017, 2018 era. It was not a push press. I'm never going to say that it was. I used a John Fung starting strength kind of technique where you shift the hips all the way forward and you basically have the bar at your neck. You dip it down like this and then like you flex the hips and you kind of do like this humping motion, and that's precisely where I introduce the song matching it. And yeah, that was legit, 100%. But then a couple years later, you saw me do 2 plates, and I didn't even train for the damn lift. Like, I didn't max out at all. I was the same body weight. It was a joke. And if I would have specialized, I probably could have gone even more. And to this day, you've seen me do a 245 times 2 seated overhead press. And shoulders are one of my best body parts. They're massive. You see me do deficit handstand push-ups, 100 pounds for 5 reps on the seated dumbbell shoulder press. I do 90 pounds for sets of 7. Like, the shoulders are there, guys. I was even doing it one arm at a time in 2019. I did 100 for 3 100 for 2 on the right arm, and I did 90 for 7 on the left. So, like, this was not much time that passed after, and I was even at a lighter body weight. I think I was 167 doing that shit. So, no, I'm not going to apologize for something that happened years ago when I already clarified all this shit. Like, I don't know why you want to bring up old news that's completely irrelevant. And you see what I do now. I love your back. Thank you, brother. It's definitely my best area, and I would credit Calisthenics heavily. Let's see here. Haters gonna hate. Do you still use a chest expander? Yeah, man. And I just got the new roll-on. And this thing is such a beast. Like, I can't even budget an inch. So it's like, I get in the overhead position, and I'm trying to expand it, and it's just 5 springs on this thing. I don't know how Fred Rollon was able to do that. So let's just say this. There's 5 super springs, and they're 3.5 times stronger. Shit, man. That's like having 17.5 springs. Sheesh. No wonder I can't move it. That's the equivalent of, okay, so you know the chest expander that you might be buying from Bells of Steel or Robert Baraban, the original one, where you have 7 springs on there. The new one that I got is the equivalent of welding the hand, like 2 of those expanders together, and then opening it up. It's quite literally double the strength, which is absolute insanity. That's why I can't do it for 1 rep max. So if you ever see me hitting that, like, I think I'm going to have the freakiest natty rear delts of all time. That at least I can document, you know? Because Fred Roland, we only have a couple pictures of his rear delts, and they were impressive. He had a hell of a physique for looking like that in 1925. But if I could do that shit, like, whoa. Like right now, I'm doing 2 super springs and 1 regular spring, which is like... or I'll do 7 springs for reps, no problem. I can do 8. So like I'm borderline like 8 springs for moderate repetitions. That's realistically where I'm at. So I'm just going to keep building up this performance, seeing what's possible. But it is the best thing you could do. It's so good that's like I feel like skipping lateral raises altogether again, because it's like I feel my side delts when I use it. You're getting the rear, you're getting the upper back benefits. It's specific to the bench. It doesn't cause a bunch of muscle damage because it's more short and biased. And believe it or not, it builds the lateral tricep strength that you need for pressing. Like when you do a board press, you want to think of it like a board extension, credit to Jimmy Kolb, rather than the board press, right? So like when you're off the chest, instead of just pressing straight up, you want to extend out. You know what I'm saying? So you're extending out, but because the bar can't actually do that, that's what's driving it forward, okay? The expander does just that. And nowadays, I'm lying down on the bench, and I'm getting that specific motion in. And that's why the sideways extensions are so helpful as well. And because it's unstable, it's going to have carryover to the bands and chains. So it's oddly specific to what I'm looking to build up. Can't recommend the expander enough. I tend to have impingement. Nothing feels better than the expander and football bar OHB. Yep. Anything neutral grip when it comes to presses is going to be easier on the shoulder joints, including if it's extended ROM. Like I'm using the Arch Nemesis bar by Bells of Steel. It has a camber in the middle, so I'm getting way more ROM. And I know this because I have to adjust my safety straps. Usually they're on number 26 or 24. If I use the Arch Nemesis, I got to go down to number 20. So it's considerable. And so even though my elbow is getting lower, there's less pain on the shoulders, which says everything about the benefits of that neutral grip. So neutral, but not like a wide, but like within shoulder width, you can't go wrong. And the same would apply to push-ups. And that's also why when you do dips with parallel bars, that's easier than if you're doing like a pronated dip, or, you know, when you're slightly internally rotated like this, with the attachments that go on your rack. Makes sense. Exactly. Okay. Back to this pop-up chat. Where is it here? I'm so confused. Fan funding. If you guys can tone it down with the donations, that would be wonderful. Thank you very much. I've been following you since the early days. I was weak, stuck at 155 bench. Thanks to you recently, I've been able to bench 3 plates, vegan for 8 years. I uploaded my bench. Can you analyze my form? My man. Good job. And thank you for this long-term support. You got a 3-plate bench on a vegan diet. You went from a scrawny boy to a big man. So let's watch your stuff live with my viewers here. Let me switch to scene 2. Hopefully it works. You guys can see all this crap on OBS. Check out our hero right here. Our vegan hero. Oh, nice. Dude, are you kidding me? Look at that. Nice pause. I like that elbow tuck right there. Explosion with a close grip too. Dude, that moves fast. And look, and you're on an adjustable bench that's not that wide, so you're losing stability there. I could see that. Like, let's look at this tightness right here. I see you have the ass off the bench during the unrack, which makes it a bit easier. I do that as well. Ass down. You're locked in. I love that elbow movement, man. I love the tuck and flare, and that moves so fast. Good shit. You see, guys? You see what's possible when you dedicate yourself to proper training? That was so clean. He had a second one there. I would agree. Close grip bench, 3 plates, vegan, perfect form. Yo. I love to see it, brother. And keep me updated with that progress. Shoot me a link the next time you get a PR. Next comment. Let's see. Thank you, Yoko Parat. You are to me what Greg Plitt was to you. Wow. Well, that means a lot, man, because we don't realize that we're the next. I mean, I'm the previous generation of fitness influencers, right? I started making videos in November of 2013, but really like 2014 is when my journey began, right? So Greg was actually still alive at the time, and then he died shortly after. So like I was coming out of that, late teens, early 20s. Nowadays, like we got guys like Sam Solik. I think he's 22, right? So it's like his run right now is what I was doing almost a decade ago, right? So it's like there's always a new influencer, right? But for you to say that I'm like your Greg Plitt, that I've motivated you in that way, and his messages were like so positive, man. Like that's amazing. I really appreciate that. And Greg's videos are still gems to this day. Like you can go on his membership site, you can sign up, you can even check out the channel. Red Pills Are Good. He re-releases a lot of those tidbits. So I would 100% look into it, my man. And thank you for that. Never Black Pill. Yeah, he will get back to you. Missed my super chat. Yeah, I've been going through these. Don't worry about it, bro. I'm going back and forth. So what I'm doing is I'm going on the super chat, and then I go to the live chat, answer some questions related to whatever you guys are saying, and then I go back to the super chat. So I'm going boom, boom, boom. This way we have some cohesion here, and I'm not going to lose you all, okay? Because we have a lot of freaking viewers here right now. We got like 413 viewers. That's, yo, much love, much love. Okay. You missed my message. How to specialize in OHP for multiple months, trying to grow my triceps and shoulders. Well, like how important is it for you? Because I can even tell you to run an overhead press specialty program where all you're going to do is vertical presses and incline presses. Or so you might even drop your flat work all together. So a good routine to run. So I would, first of all, overhead press twice a week. You could do it on Mondays and Thursdays, or Mondays and Fridays, or Tuesdays and Fridays, right? Or Thursdays and Saturdays, whatever you like, okay? Make sure it's split 72 hours between sessions, okay? And what you want to do is open up your workout with the overhead press. Hit a top single, follow it up with 2 or 3 sets in the 5 to 8 rep range. And then your secondary press would be a high incline. You're going to want to be training within 3 angles realistically. So the AD pressing angle, which is going to be about 80 degrees, as well as the 60 degree angle, and then the 45 degree. So you have 3 positions to work with. And of course, I'm not telling you to do this in one workout, but you're going to pick one of those angles for that day. So day 1, like I said, heavy overhead press. Secondary exercise, you do maybe a 80 degree dumbbell press. Now on the Friday, you can open up with the overhead press again for more specificity, or you can add in some accommodating resistance. So you can suspend some light chains off it, right? This way you're training that lockout a bit more. This way you're still doing the standing overhead press, but you're reducing overuse. And you're not going to have as much strength plateaus because the OHP is a slow lift to make gains on, right? That's one way. You could also do a pin press, again, standing up. Or if we're talking about sticking with a barbell, you can do the AD press. So you sit down, 80-degree angle. So you're kind of complementing what you did on your A day, but you're swapping what was a secondary motion into a primary, okay? That's now your opener. So you come in. Oh, what's going on here? Oh, yeah, you come in, you hit that with a bar. Then your secondary movement, obviously you can't pick the same angle as you did on the day one. So now you can lower the angle one more for maximum specificity, go to 60-degree. And here it could either be with a barbell or a dumbbell again. I'd personally recommend the dumbbell. And that's basically how you would split it up. And remember, that's just like for 1 week. That's your first block, right? The following block, you can change up the variations again by further, because you haven't even tried 45 degrees yet. You haven't done barbell or dumbbell on that, right? You haven't even done overhead pressing with a Swiss bar. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, for this first wave, that's an approach that I'd recommend as it pertains to the compound movements. And then when it comes to the accessories, do anything that's overhead for your triceps. So overhead tricep extensions with a bar for maximum specificity. Do the same thing JM press style. You can rotate in some chains to reduce elbow overuse. In general, just get your triceps stronger. And also adding in some close grip bench might help your overhead press. It does tend to be specific. A lot of strongman guys have been saying this for years. So these are just some general approaches to help your vertical pressing strength. And yeah, man, it's not a problem. You should be okay with that. Wow, the timing. Yeah, I can see I'm getting a bit fatigué right now. Make a podcast with Dr. Furman. You know, I would love to have Dr. Furman on my channel. He's my favorite plant-based doctor. So that would be a hell of a talk. You know, one by one, I get them on, right? And I don't see why he would say no. I got a large following, so it would be a tremendous honor considering he's sold millions of books and yeah, he's the OG. Okay, back to these fan funding things. When is the interview with Hersoviak? Yeah, I should do that as we approach the end of the year. I've had a lot of interviews recently. It's been nonstop, so you're going to see that on other people's channels. But him, it's a long time coming. We've known each other for since the beginning, you know. How do you reach over 4,000 calories on a vegan diet? I mean, I personally don't, and I don't see why you would need that many calories unless you're a strongman competitor. So I suppose I'm just going to redirect it, like, why are you trying to get 4K? Like, I don't believe that your TDEE is that high. At most, it's going to be like 3,500 calories or somewhere in the 3,000 range, low 3,000s. It's like if you need 4K, like, you're going to be weighing over 200 pounds easy, you know? So in that case, like, you're probably doing it through processed foods, which I'm not going to condone. In my opinion, guys, just eat the healthiest options available, and wherever your calories end up at, roll with it. And then just increase the quantities of those foods until you're so full that you physically can't, or up your fat intake. So instead of going from like 15% fat, go to 20% fat. You know, but I don't like the recommendation of upping fat and processed foods, even though that's exactly what's going to do it for you. So I'm not going to make that recommendation, but you'd have to make your diet more unhealthy to do it. That's the answer. Because the thing is, the vegan diet will naturally have your calories being lower. Like, all things being equal, like the way I'm eating now, if I still would have been having a lot of animal products, I would have been in the 180s probably a month and a half, 2 months ago. It would have been a hell of a lot quicker. Like, the rebound would have been insane, you know? But this is the first time where it's actually been a slow weight regain. And again, my appetite is dictating that. I don't care about, like, when I'm going to maximize my bulk, you know what I'm saying? Like, when I hit peak bear mode. It's going to happen because the harder I train, the hungrier I get. you know? Whoa, what happened here? Restore chat. I think you missed my super chat. I'm going through it, homie. Fudge. A lot of questions. Strong overhead press equals big upper chest or not? It could, because the shoulder flexion aspect, like that, does recruit your upper chest, and a lot of people lean back. So, in fact, they're performing a high incline by default. But the thing is, for it to work, you need to be at a low body fat percentage and be very strong at the standing overhead press. Like, probably repping your body weight. Like, if you can't, like if you're 180, decently lean, you should be able to do that for 5 reps. Like, if you're 185 pounds and you can't do a 185 OHP for 5 reps, that's why OHP never really grew your delts for one, but also your upper chest. You need higher strength. I feel like he's not going to answer all the super chats. I will. Trust me, I will. But the more you guys put in your donations, I'll be here for longer. And I just want to like wrap it up before we get to like the 4-hour mark or whatever. We're almost at 2 hours here. So many questions. I get lucky if he sees mine. I'll get to you, Adrian. I mean, I'm going to try. You know what? Let me control F you. I got you, homie. Is it good to start with behind the neck pull-ups, Alex? I don't think you should. The behind the neck pull-up is such a difficult movement that is designed to get more out of less weight. And so you might as well do it in a fatigue state so that you further reduce the load. Now, I would only make that recommendation if body weight alone is putting you in like the 5 to 8 rep range. But please control F me too. Maybe I will, since you asked. Olivier Lazure. I got you after this. Yeah, bro. So I think it's a better idea to go very heavy on a regular weighted pull-up variation of your choice. So what I personally do is a weighted chin-up, either off a bar or rings, like something where the loading potential is insane, right? Where you can put up like 2-3 plates at least, okay? And then for your secondary vertical pull, that's when you throw in behind the neck pull-ups. This way, body weight will be enough. And you're going to still be in a moderate rep range. Like you might be getting reps of 8 to 12. And if you do add on a little bit of weight, it'll probably never exceed a plate. Like that's as high as I go. And even then, I can admit that it's excessive. Like I get my best workouts on behind the neck when I got 25 pounds hanging off my waist. And you see what I do on the regular weighted pull-up. So it's not an exercise that you have to go that heavy at. And I do like pausing at the top, controlling the eccentric. Like this is where you want to cyborg it. The cyborg is reserved for movements that are inherently more difficult and probably riskier as well. So you'll build more mobility. It's just going to... This is the way to do it, brother. But I probably wouldn't open with behind neck unless you're maxing out. And I have done that. I think I got 125 pounds on that movement, which, yeah, it's rough stuff. Olivier, goblet squats with adjustable dumbbell for quad hypertrophy. I'm training at home. It's an option, but I guess I would ask, like, why don't you just do a front squat? Because goblet squats are going to get quite easy with an adjustable dumbbell. Like, how heavy do you plan on going? 100 pounds? 120 pounds? Well, if you just do front squats with 2 plates for reps, you're going to get a much better stimulus. So I don't know why you would just opt for that, you know. Of course, you can do goblet squats with insane heel elevation. I think Natural Hypertrophy has shown this in one of his special workouts. But you're going to have to do higher reps. So now you're like in the 20 to 30 rep range. You're breathing unnecessarily. Of course, you're not loading your spine the same way. And the leverages are a bit different. Like a 120 goblet squat is harder than a 120 front squat. But still, like, it's not really an efficient move for hypertrophy. Like, a lot of women might benefit from it. Like, if you have a girl doing 120 on that lift, like, she's very strong. But a guy, like, I'd rather you just squat with a bar. Or if you're going to use those heavy dumbbells you just described, do some freaking Bulgarian split squats. Like if you got 120 pounds on a goblet squat, you can half the load, do 60 pounds for hand, put that rear foot on a bench and the front foot on some boxes, and now you got like a super deep stretch in the bottom, and it's going to be very difficult. So that's what I would recommend instead. A deficit unilateral motion of some kind. Alpha sexist. Oh, because I said, well, look, the strength standards are different between men and women, and I don't see any debate about that. Like, come on. But I get it, you're just joking. How legit are lunges for quad growth? They're amazing. But you have to lunge forward, not do it in reverse. Because it's all about the tibia bending forward. And for that, you should also do it with some heel wedges. So what I would recommend, okay, have a mat on your front and rear foot, okay, and make sure the front foot has heel elevation. That's all you got to do. This way you get maximum knee flexion, and you're going to bias the quads from that lift. So that's a terrific mass builder for the quads. What water bottle is that? It's some stainless steel bottle that I bought. I think it was 2017. And I just found it recently in my cupboard. I was like, oh yeah, I remember this. I don't drink out of plastic bottles. Back to these fan funding questions. How do you make gains with 2 days a week? 2 times 60 minutes. Full body twice a week. Check out my naturally enhanced program. I think that's exactly what you're looking for. Basically, you want to perform supersets and giant sets in a full body way, and equally splitting your volume in such a way where you're still getting everything you need in a week, but it doesn't have to be done in one session. So if you're really pressed on time, like you can do horizontal presses on one day and vertical the next. It still counts as full body. The idea that you also have to overhead press is untrue. And this is actually what we see in many novice programs. Like just look at, the systems that have you doing barbell squats, bench press, and then barbell rows. And maybe some arm work on the side, right? Like they didn't do close grip bench, they didn't do overhead press, and they didn't do squats and deadlifts in the same session. But when you did the bent over row, that still loaded your posterior chain to a certain extent. And you're still like training the whole leg through the squat. And there's an axial loading component. So this idea that you have to perform every single movement pattern is untrue, okay? So just off that, if you cut down your exercise selection, reduce your volume a bit as well. Like you don't need to do 3 sets for everything. Just stick to 2. And then you superset some of these motions. Like you'll be out of the gym in 60 minutes. It's very doable. Like you can even be out in 45 minutes. So full body twice a week is exactly what you need. My man Bilal, my triceps insert high on the arm, pros and cons. Well, I got the same issue, man. I got like these shit tricep insertions, But that's the medial head right there, okay? Here. Where is it? There. That's the medial head. It just means that they're going to look less impressive unless you're single digit shredded. You're going to see the separation more. But that's a horrible trait for bodybuilding. It is what it is. You're not going to have the sweep that Jeffrey Reddy Schofield has. But if you think that my arms look pretty good, then at least you can get something like that. But hey, who knows? Maybe your biceps have a better insertion. So when you flex like this, you're going to have a nice peak. Who knows? But I'm sorry to hear that. Your genetics will dictate it. You can't do anything, bro. Just get your triceps as big as possible. If the measurement is up there, then that's going to be impressive in its own right. If you have 17-inch arms, no one's going to care that you have a high insertion. I want to ask if you think it's okay to work out your obliques if your hips are wider than them to make it seem as if you're blockier other than an avocado. You can argue that oblique training helps with injury prevention, It helps with core stability. And if you're competing strongman or a strength sport, it's probably in your best interest to do it. Now, if it's just in the aesthetic context, you probably don't have to. But I would say there's some truth that if you do like twisting motions, when you're shredded, that can make your obliques pop a bit more and make you look even more impressive, right? But I would say like for that effect on the side, because most guys are not going to get that lean, let's be honest, training your serratus has a better impact because most people don't store a lot of fat there, and you'll still see it at a reasonable body fat. So if you do things like pullovers, push-ups, or any motion where there's a natural rhythm with your scapula, like you're going to get that nice rib cage effect, like that fish scale look. So even if your obliques are lagging a bit, it won't matter. And ultimately, if you have a genetically wide waist, like it's always going to look blocky whether you train your obliques or not. Like the only way it won't is if you get to, again, a very low body fat and your lats are so wide as well as your side delts that it just dwarfs it by comparison. Like I do not have a small waist. I have to be quite literally 7% body fat for it to look impressive. It is what it is. Like right now I'm wearing 32 pants. You know, it's all right. But there's people who, like Jeffrey Verdi Schofield, he'll be bulked up to the max, and I think he only has a 33 or 34 inch waist, but he's like maxed out fluff, you know? Like that's a gift, because then when he's shredded, he might be down to a 26 or 27 inch waist. There's not much you could do about that. Like some of you guys, even if you maximize your leanness, you might still have a 31 inch waist. What do you want to do? Just get freaking jacked. Build a V-taper, and also work on your vacuum so that when you do a front double biceps, you just have that depth, you know? Like look at Dr. Mike, you know, he looks like Blastoise from Pokemon, right? Even when he's competed at single digit, there's striations everywhere. It's like he has no choice but to do the vacuum because his core is thick. You know, you look at some of these strongman competitors, same thing. Like you'll never see them with a small waist in comp. Like it's impossible unless you wear like a corset or some shit, you know? So yeah, what do you want to do? Oh my goodness. We got the homie, Jason Casper. You're the man, Alex. Thanks for everything. Wow. That's, I don't know what to say, Jason. Let me go on your thing real quick. Jason Casper. Oh, 1 second, please. Let me go on your channel. So you're a content creator yourself. Oh, I see you're in the crypto game. 126,000 followers. That's what's up. Hey, I made some moves as well in the last bear market. So really cool that you're in that space and following me. You know, there's a lot of fit guys who are into that. So thanks for the massive donation. I really appreciate it. Like $200. Like again, I'm gonna bring it right back into this community. I'm gonna buy something that I could use, because ultimately I don't really live a life where I need much, you know. So I'm gonna upgrade something, man. Probably get like maybe a cloud lifter or I don't know, something. But that's a hell of a lot of money for a donation in which you didn't even ask me a question. So I guess you're just showing some love. Thank you for that, Jason. You're a real OG. Like, I'm honestly flabbergasted. I don't know what to say. That's a lot of money, dude. Like, you got guys out here giving me $5-10, and that's great. But you just came in. Hey, I appreciate you. You're the man, Alex. Thanks for everything. Well, thank you too. And if you need anything, please let me know. And good stuff on the channel. Over 100K is not easy to do. So from here to 300K, you're gonna see like it's gonna get serious. We are 420 in the chat right now. I don't see why you would say that. Oh, use the $200 to make the calisthenics program. Oh, that's who knows? What would you guys do with $200? You know what? Let's make this fun. Jason added a nice little vibe here. What can I do with $200 to make this channel better? Let's hear your thoughts on that. I'm waiting on it. Get a BBL. Oh, damn. Quit my job. You're a ballsy one. Bought framed photographs for $200 today. Get a huge banner or something. Buy a bench program. Whose program costs that much? $200 worth of beers. Sheesh. How many freaking packs would you have to buy? A glute spread tutorial. Ah, so you get the best oil, the best downlighting. Okay, that's an option. Buy fake plates. Oof, that is not good, bro. Gotta have some self-respect. Send it my way. Give it back to the viewers. So every viewer who's watching live, you divide the amount. Go back to the buffet. Yeah, the vegan buffet. It's like $60 a person, I think. Buy, Jason, you tell me about buying a person? Sheesh. New Olympic shoes. Well, stay tuned for that. I actually have a cool announcement soon, which I'm, again, quite blessed. Leonidas T giveaway. Oh, so I buy a tee and send it over. That's a cool option. Buy a cable machine. Well, the thing is, the cable machine is like $1,000. And so far, I'm using my ghetto setup. Versa grips. I prefer my Iron Mind wrist straps, I'll be honest. I tried the Versas when I lifted with Dr. Mike, and I like the old school feel. Buy a robot. I actually do have a robot, and they suck. You know the iRobot for cleaning your home? First of all, it'll smash into all your stuff, so it destroys your property, and it misses a lot of nasty areas. So, like, you're better off just getting a freaking broom at the dollar store or a generic vacuum cleaner. I would not buy it again, and I plan on throwing mine soon because it just does a horrible job of cleaning. I'd buy a gimp suit for you, Alex. Damn, that's some San Andreas level stuff. If you know, you know. Buy one of those huge dumbbells made from stone. The circus, not the circus dumbbell. The Thomas Inch dumbbell. Well, you know what? We have that at Pro Gym, which I was going to for a little bit and decided it wasn't my vibe, right? It's like 180 pounds, this thing, with like a 3-inch grip. I can't do it. I can't lift it for one. I tried, and I was bulked up as well, you know, so my grip was as strong as it was going to be. I can't lift a Thomas Inch dumbbell. So respect anyone who can. I know it was considered like super elite for a long time. Like, you got a lot of strongman competitors who do it now, but like, I'm not them, and I got small hands, okay? Here's a good one. Buy 20 people a gym membership. Well, they're going to get like a month each, basically. All right? And it might be less than that because gyms have become more expensive. Oh, here's a good question. If vegan diet is anti-aging, would it be bad for puberty because that's literally aging? You might get it a bit later, actually. Like, specifically for women, you might menstruate like past 15 years old. Like, I believe Dr. Furman's daughter got her period at 17. So yes, that actually is a part of it. And all this dairy that young girls are consuming is causing them to have their periods sooner. So if you're getting it in grade 4, that's a little bit alarming. You know, 15 to 17 is actually quite common in those who follow a more health promoting diet, where you're lowering IGF-1 and all that. So yeah, that would apply for sure. It's about your biological age, not your chronological age. Crazy, eh? Yep. Dude, just want to say you're my inspiration. I'm honored to inspire you, Aiden. New Barbell Apparel Tees raffle. That's cool. Never did a giveaway with them, except for like the buy one get one free kind of thing. Bulk on horse feed? Sheesh. Well, you know what? Devin Lorette used to eat bird seed. So, to each his own. Buy Bitcoin. That's a good use of the money, sure. Dyson all day. Oh, hell yeah. I got to get that soon. Get a nice preacher bench. Yeah. I want myself a preacher curl. The old school one that Golden Era Bookworm talks about, Larry Scott style. Hell yeah. You actually have padding on your chest and it's contoured. I don't want those cheap flat ones, you know. How many subs did Alex have when you started following? Oh, I don't know who you're talking about. Gambling. Oh, no. We don't do that over here. Are you natty? I'm a lifetime natty, brother. Oh, what's your music taste? I like heavy metal exclusively. I don't listen to anything else except, like, I'll make the exception for old school gangster rap from the 90s. But other than that, I like all forms of metal. I like rock at heart. And for chill music, you can say smooth jazz, a bit of classical music. But otherwise, like 90% of what I listen to is some rock variation. And that's how it's always going to be. Alex loves Dark Souls OSTs. Yeah, that's like a sick modern take on classical. You like Pink Floyd? Yeah. I like, yes, I do. But it's not my favorite band from back then. Punk, not really my thing. Kendrick Lamar, I don't like his stuff, I'll be honest. I can't listen. You know, I know a lot of people say good things about him, but it's just not my type of music. Like Tupac vibes or Get Out. Nightwish is okay. Actually, great voice with Nightwish, but it's not my vibe, you know. Japanese rock is not what I like either. Gojira's classic. Skillet is real old school rock, but I like the early 2000s rock. Tool, yeah. Again, I don't like rap. I'm not a hip hop guy. I'm sorry if I offend anyone in saying that. I just, it's not my vibe. For me, it's rock or Get Out. But I respect anyone who does like it, and that's their preference, you know. But you'll look at my Instagram page, see what I listen to, and it'll give you a pretty clear idea. Let's go. You think someone can bench 405 natty? You're looking at someone who did it at 185. So yeah, I think a hell of a lot of people could do it if they actually train correctly and want it bad enough. Weighted vest running, it can interfere with your running technique, so I'm not sure I'd recommend it. Have you heard of Polyphia? Yeah. Very talented. That's like math metal. Animals by Leaders, they have a similar vibe. That Vivaldi guy, same thing. There's a lot of people. It's like progressive metal math, you know. Will you ever go on TRT? I'd like to not get on TRT. But the thing is, if I'm 7 years old and my T levels are in the gutter and I feel like shit and I'm depressed and I'm losing all my gains, that's going to be very depressing, and I don't think I want that. But the thing is, if I'm lifting correctly for decades, I take care of my health, I do what I'm supposed to do, then wouldn't my balls be functioning correctly? Like, realistically, when would someone need to get on TRT? Like, this idea that a 30-year-old man, for example, is somehow like they have to hop on is an excuse to get on steroids, if you ask me. Or like someone who's done natural bodybuilding, they compete every year for a decade, maybe now they're 40 and their balls don't fully recover. But look, I've gotten shredded 3 times and I've recovered every single time. Hasn't been an issue. Happens rather quickly after 2 months or so. You're 100%. My downstairs is amazing. It's like I'm 14 again. My energy in the gym is good. My aggression's good. Like, they say the average 30-year-old today has the T levels of the average 50-year-old of back then. And obesity is a major contributor to that. Not necessarily the things that we put into our bodies. So it's like, I would say that I'm probably an old school man in terms of my build. Like, I take extreme care of my health. I don't smoke. In anything, by the way. I've never smoked weed. I never smoked cigarettes. I barely drink alcohol. It's really like at a gathering, and it might be a small amount. But I'm really considering going straight edge at this point. Not because I have an addiction, but because there's no point to consuming it. I am a real health nut. I want to live to 100 if possible, maximize my lifespan. So it's like, why would I take anything? And if I did have to, it would be way like down the road. And again, we're talking actual TRT, but also I want to see the damn data on it. I think we can agree that it'll enhance your quality of life, but are there other risks that we don't know about right now? I don't know, but I can say that in a couple decades we'll have that data, and then I can make a more informed decision. But all these young guys hopping on it are a bunch of excuse-making liars, because even guys like Pete Rubish, who abused a bunch of shit, like, he still recovered. You barely aged. Thank you, brother. I don't feel like I'm aging. Just my freaking hairline went back. My skin looks the same. Like, if I do a before and after comparison of my face, it's identical. Like, I would say there hasn't been any changes in the last 7 years. Like, from early 20s to late 20s, my face hasn't changed. And if you think it does, it's quite literally because I've evolved the cameras over the years. But if the megapixels are equated, same sharpness, same dynamic range, there's no difference. Like, I can pull out my old cell phone or my old camera from back then, and you will quite literally see I don't have a single wrinkle. Like, that's what happens when you take care of yourself. So I appreciate you saying that. There's a hormetic response to alcohol in small doses. The data seems to suggest that there's no benefits whatsoever. And that even those who, like, again, remember I was talking about compared to what when we were discussing diet? Well, when people say, let's say having a drink a week of wine, first of all, it's literally just like this much, a shot of wine. That's what they do in the blue zones, for example. Hold on, how do you become more handsome? Your skin looks smoother. Well, again, plant-based diet, bro. The carotenoids, that's going to give you that natural glow, okay? And you have no water retention. You know what I'm saying? Health is what makes you look young. That's the truth. But anyway, fudge, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. You guys got to stop giving me these compliments. Frick. The only time you'll look old is if you get shredded or if you put down some harsh downlighting. So, like, if I'm straining my face away, okay? Like, I'm doing a Warner Max grinder. I got downlighting from the top. Like, of course, my skin's not going to look that good. But if you just put me in regular sunlight or whatever, like, conditions that we would normally film ourselves in, like, you're going to see there's no issues there. So, like, you can't use, like, a bright light where you got these raccoon eyes as an excuse. Oh, and actually, since I went plant-based, in general, started taking care of my health more, I used to have these dark circles under my eyes when I was younger. Like, and I still have that to a certain extent, but it's gone down tremendously. It's that Mediterranean gene, you know? Like, the oldest thing about my face is my damn eyes. Straight up. But down here, there's nothing. It's just my fucking eyes, man. And that's probably because I work in front of a computer all day. And everyone in my family is, like, dark up there. But it's become a lot lighter. So okay. It's hard to see it when you wear glasses anyway. Yeah. My eyes are not that good, guys. I'm straining them so hard, they're getting worse by the year. I don't wear contacts though. I probably should. Okay. Back to these questions up here. Did you hear about Matt dropping his new book, You're the GOAT? I don't know which Matt you're talking about. Like, who's Matt? I'm sorry that I don't know who you're referring to. Maybe you can clarify that in the comment section, but thank you for the donation. Vegan bro, been watching you for over a year. Awesome, man. Well, keep it up on your end as well. And I'm glad that you're here for the long term. If you lasted a year, that's a great sign. So thank you, and let's keep embracing this amazing message together, showing people what's possible. Been following you since the rack pull above the knee days. Really proud of you and your progress. I wish you all the best. Well, thank you, Fat Funk. Got to be careful when saying that name out loud. See, it's funny how we've gone full circle with the rack pulls. I'm not doing them above the knee anymore. but I'm going below the knee. And let me say something about that. Oh, he's talking about Matt Wenning. Yes. Okay. No, that's going to be a cool book to see. I'm definitely going to read it. Like, Matt is a true professional. And actually, guys, I met him in person last year. And I swear, him and Julius Maddox were the only two people that really wowed me. They're both massive guys. In fact, I know Matt recently fired his marketing team, right? Well, he did the right job in doing so because he looks way more impressive in person. Like, I don't know who was filming him beforehand, but they did him a massive disservice. First of all, he looks leaner in real life, and his muscles are fucking huge. He's got big arms. He's yoked out of his damn mind. Like, he's built like a house. Like, he's thick, wide. He's just jacked. Like, Matt genuinely shocked me when I met. I was like, whoa, dude. And he actually complimented me too. He's like, your traps. And he put his hands on me like that. I'm like, yo. Remember when we did that collab with the podcast? He's like, yeah. If you ever want to do a part 2, hit me up. So that was really cool. And Julius was just a tank. I mean, obviously, he has the world record bench press. But he's like big. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a guy that big before. You know, he's just so much, like, it's just freaky when you see it in person. But those were the two guys that struck out to me in person, for sure. Let's go to back here. Oh yeah, the rack pulls. No, I already covered that. Yeah, we're back to below the knee because that offers very good carryover, and I love doing it off the freaking straps. Like, honestly, guys, if it weren't for the straps, I probably wouldn't have reconsidered them. Like, I'll do them at the gym just because I don't feel like loading the damn plates on the floor. Like, it's so annoying. Like, can anyone relate when you have to go over 500 pounds on deadlifts? The warm-up is long. You gotta have all these plates. You gotta shimmy in with the fucking 2.5 pound plate. It's like you're shaking it. That's by far the worst part about deadlifts. And that's basically why I do rack pulls even above the anthropometry benefits. Like, I'm not built for deadlifts. I have this structure where I'm bent forward like a pendlay row, so it unnecessarily loads my spinal erectors. And I have trouble in that position, right? Even though they're strong as hell and jacked, right? But it's like I'm never gonna have the best ratio. Like, I'm one of those guys who his deadlift and squat can be quite similar. You know, deadlifts are fun. I'm built for them too. But yeah, it gets annoying sometimes. Max is 440, but I have to switch them for low bar good mornings for time efficiency. Wow. So even at 440, you found it annoying. That's 4.5 plates. Imagine when you got 6 plates on there. It sucks. But keep it up, man. You're probably gonna get it. You're gonna get it automatically with those damn good mornings. I can guarantee you that. Talked about the diet before when you rewatch this live stream. And I'm going to try to timestamp it. Just not immediately because I got some things to do later. Fan funding. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Mr. Spicy. Like the setup with the shades. Looking like a boss. Atia, thank you for the donation. Hey, man, I think you missed my super chat. I think I answered. Okay, typical American meat diet and veganism are both stupid extremes. Like you said, med diet is mostly plant-based, but the occasional contributions from animal-based products are needed for... No. You see, but now you made a stupid statement. I was on board with you a little bit. A whole food plant-based diet, done right, properly supplemented, is not a stupid extreme. It's probably the best diet we can follow if you're willing to get that crazy. It's a choice, okay? Maybe you can make the argument that a pescatarian diet, Adventist style, is slightly better. We did see in the study they live 1.5 years longer, but they also have a higher cancer rate. So it's like, all things being equal, all these diets available, what's the best one? I would say the vegan diet is best. And I personally, that's where I'm putting my bet towards. And it certainly beats the Mediterranean diet, okay? Now, saying you need animal-based products is just a flat-out lie. That's not what nutritional experts in the world will say. Like, a whole food plant-based diet, 100%, is adequate for all stages of life, including from birth. So I don't know where you're coming up with this information. If you actually track your nutrients, you'll see that you're ticking every box. The only thing you might not get is B12. Maybe zinc could be a bit harder to get. And if your conversion to omega-3 is not the best, then you can take an algae-based DHA supplement. And the D3, you should be supplementing that anyway, whether you're vegan or not. So it's like, if you have these very basic supplements in place, which omnivores should be consuming as well, and you're consuming the whole kingdom of whole plant foods, right? Then you're not going to have any nutritional deficiencies. Like, you just won't. So it's all about proper planning at the end of the day. And I would say that because you're eliminating the saturated fat completely, your IGF-1 is very low, there's no inflammation, you're following the only diet that's been proven to stop heart disease in its tracks, then why would you default to anything else? So I disagree, but I think a meat-based only diet is actually crazy. Like, you are going to die prematurely if you follow that kind of approach. And then on a connected note, my man Igor, opinions on the vertical diet from Stan Efferding. Stan Efferding is not going to live long following that diet, as will his followers or anyone who believes the vertical diet to be health promoting, because it's not. It's a great performance diet because it's very easy to digest all these foods and you're hitting all your minerals and protein, but there's way too much saturated fat. And he's in denial of that for some reason. When there's no nutritional expert who's going to agree with his diet. Not to mention the fact that he's red like a tomato, he's roided up to the gills. Like, does he look like the epitome of health to you? Like, are you serious? I would never promote that to anyone. Like, what he considers, he has a little pyramid. There's the horizontal foods and the vertical foods. The horizontal foods are fucking healthier for you. That's crazy. Like, he's saying you want to eat red meat over chicken. That's not what you should do. You could benefit from Lane Norton videos. Brother, I'm subscribed to Lane Norton. I met Lane Norton in person. I followed his book to get contest shredded. I follow his protocols. And what does Lane Norton say? That saturated fat is an independent risk factor. Like, it promotes heart diseases. It's the one thing that you should cut out, whether you're vegan or not. Do you watch Lane? Because it sounds like you don't watch him. I do. I've been subscribed to Lane for like a decade now. And Lane does not disagree with a plant-based diet being unhealthy. He's fully on board with that. So what the fuck are you talking about? It's like, what does the evidence say? It's not what Stan Efferding is promoting. I can promise you that. You guys are going to kill yourselves eating that way. I'm just saying. Bro, chill. No, I'm not going to chill when we're talking about people's lives here. Stop following these fads. I don't care that Matt likes it. He's not really the epitome of health either, to be honest. His conjugate advice is the best out there. But just because someone knows something about programming doesn't mean they're nutritional experts. It's that simple. Like, stay in your lane. And this is someone who I greatly respect. Like, there's people that I know in person who are lifetime natties and they've been training for 10 plus years and they're great, but they're following the carnivore diet. And I think that even with them being natty, they're still going to die young. It's that simple. Let's celebrate their first Super on live stream. Thank you, Saint J. Fuck, this light is hot, man. Is the naturally enhanced still a good way to train? And if so, should I do that before shredding G-like-Q? Yup. I ran like pure naturally enhanced until December of 2019. Full body, twice a week. It got like 90% of my physique. So I maybe put on 10% more gains since then. And it was purely a choice because I was neglecting my legs. There was still some squat potential to be unlocked, which I did get when I switched upper lower. And my workouts were taking quite a long time. And because I had this home gym, I just figured, like, why am I still doing this full body thing when I could split up a bit? But you know what? Out of all the systems I ran, like, there was nothing better than 2 times a week full body in terms of my net recovery. So I would completely recommend it. Just that you're gonna, like, if you want to train the way I'm doing things now, the exercise selection might have to be different. Like, instead of emphasizing the yoke movements, you're gonna feature more calisthenics, more extended range of motion presses, and just less trap work overall, because that's ultimately what it's designed to do: build the outer extremities of the body. So, I mean, if you bulk up, you hit barrel mode, you train those exact muscles, you do the same movements and whatever, like, you're gonna have a physique that I spoke of back then, and it absolutely works for that purpose. But I think what's most brilliant about naturally enhanced is not even like the physique goal, but rather the periodization style, in which it's full body twice a week, which eliminates muscular overlap and all the fatigue aspects, right? And you get the 72 hours of recovery, and you're only in the gym twice a week for twice a week muscle protein synthesis. So you have the optimal frequency dialed in. You're building your work capacity, and like, you're not living in the gym, and everything recovers together. So it's like, that's unbeatable, guys. Carnivore is actually mad. I agree. It's a insane diet that'll give you heart disease. Carnivore diets are the most grug thing on earth. Brian Johnson. Yeah. Well, he follows a vegan diet. I don't know if it's for ethical reasons or health, but see, this guy Emmanuel actually has some sense. You know, the 1% fatty meats are better. Well, yeah, no shit. You don't want to be having fatty cuts, guys. That's what being a conspiracy theorist is in the nutritional realm. And I think you mentioned the comment about saturated fat and fiber. The thing is, how are you going to get your numbers that low? So, for example, there was a study that Lane talked about recently where the vegans did better. And Lane's like, oh, it's because they didn't equate the fiber. But it was like a small amount different, right? The reason why you can't equate the fiber is because it's very damn difficult to do so. Because a vegan diet, it's like your fiber is already going to be through the roof just eating normally. So it's like you would have to slash some of those animal products in order to get it. And in that case, your saturated fat is going to be naturally low. It's like if you attempt to equate the macros, you're going to end up with low saturated fat and high fiber. And I'm saying that's the combination that wins for health, whether you're vegan or not. So I'm not in disagreement with what Lane has to say about that. Just that if you actually went vegan, you'd realize that it's kind of difficult to match the fiber of an omnivore. It's like you'd have to be eating processed foods to do that. If you're actually doing proper whole food plant-based, like, that's actually one of the damn benefits of like being 100%. You know? Like, I can't get low fiber even if I tried to. So to then use that as a criticism, well, the vegans had a higher fiber. Well, what the fuck else is going to happen? You want them to eat processed foods? So they're going to have to try harder to get the omnivore to match what we're eating. It's not us who has to compromise, okay? So, yeah. But Lane doesn't disagree about that. Neither does Thomas and all these other guys, okay? Oh, another comment. Think how jacked Alex would be if he ate steak. Oh, like I didn't try that last year? Well, guess what? I was bigger and stronger this year. Like, I was eating horse meat every day, guys. 220 grams of protein. This year I was getting 120 grams coming from fucking tofu and beans and all this other stuff, and I have a better physique than ever. You guys have been scammed by fraud artists who don't even believe in nutritional evidence. That's the scary part. There's no difference. What was your body fat at 200 pounds? Oh, man. Probably like 25%. And then you have some other conspiracy people in here saying fiber is not healthy. Like, you're losing people with saying shit like that. That's crazy as hell. It's, again, fiber is an independent health promoter. Is skim milk that bad? Any studies on it? In terms of developing heart disease, no. You're not, if you're having 0% fat milk, then you'll be okay with that. Same thing if you have egg whites. But you are raising IGF-1, so that is the caveat. But again, it goes back to lowering your saturated fat intake. It starts with that, guys. If you deny that, you're denying the evidence. It's that simple. Oh, read my super chat. I sent it 2 hours ago. Please, I'm sorry, dude. Let me check this right now. Zoko. Oh, can you do a pec bounce for 15 seconds? All right. Let's try to do this. Here, 1 second. There you go. Hope you're happy. Bro is doing side quests. No, I need more bullets. This is what I sub for. Hey, yo, Lamau. Oh, man. This took a drastic turn. I feel bad for anyone who just clicked on this live stream right now, and this is what they're getting. OnlyFans type of content. Dennis Arnold. Yeah, that's how he opens up his videos. Pause. Thank you, Alex. I really appreciate it. Hey, man. It was fun for the viewers. Thanks for the donation. But I'm not going to do that with my shirt off, just saying. So if some guy asks me that next, it's not happening. Especially with oil. William, food noob here. Why would we need supplements even when eating healthy? You don't, except for, like, in the wintertime, you probably should take D3. And if you're a vegan, you should take B12. But otherwise, if you're eating what you should be, the need for supplements is basically inexistent. It's supplements what can already be obtained in normal diet. But certain vitamin and mineral supplements could be helpful. Like, you want to avoid vitamin A and vitamin E supplementation, as well as folate. But things like zinc are perfectly fine. D3 is good. K2 is good. But if you're not getting that in your diet or through other means, whatever, then there's nothing wrong with taking a supplement. It's on you. Is my video lagging? But thanks for that donation. Thanks for checking out my 3-plate bench. It's so crazy. 2018, I thought I'd never bench 2 plates. I'm going to bench 4 or 5 in the next years, I promise you. Thanks for spreading the vegan message. Much love. Hey, that'll be awesome. Let's get some vegan warriors benching 4 plates. I'm going to do it 2 again. And look, based off how fast 3 plates moved, like, why not? Like, as of right now, you're probably good for 335, 340. So that's where I was at in 2017. And I got my first 4 or 5 in 2021. So 4 years after that point. So, you know, maybe if you give yourself 5 years from where you currently are, I think it's quite realistic to bench 4 plates. You know, like, it's no longer this impossible feat of strength. We're seeing a lot of naturals doing this nowadays. Alex, what's your bench now? I'm not sure, but I think it's 390. Because I did a 365 close grip bench the other day on my Instagram page. And it moved really well. Like, it was so fast. Like, I could show you guys what I'm talking about. Man, you're going to freak out. Here, look at this shit. I'm going to put this live. Un momento. See this? This is a 365 close grip bench. Like, come on. That's like an RP8, man. Watch that again. Like, how fast? Like, bro. I can probably do 380 or 370 something. At least 375 on the close grip. And my all-time best was 380, which was done a week after I benched 405. So, Yeah, and if you want to see all my PRs, they're here, you know. Same thing like with this Larson press. Look, 315 with 90 chain. That's 405 at the top. So I'm still able to lock the damn weight. Right here, all the chain is off the ground. Boom. Okay? And then 370, Larson one board. I had done 365 off of one board. And I was still able to do this. And yeah, it's a lot harder than feet down, okay? It's at least 10% more difficult. So I think I can at least do like a 385, 390 bench, something like that. Like, what do you guys think? Smooth, yeah? Dog, what's the best bars in Montreal? Ooh. Well, I'm not really a bar guy, that's the thing, but my bias would be in the East End. Like, it's not downtown where you're going to find the best bars. It's going to be your local areas with communities featuring people who are like yourself. Like in the Italian community, like you're gonna find some sick bars, but it's all people you know. If you know, you know. But I would definitely check out the East End. And if you're talking about the best barbells, yes, like my man Ignacio just said. I hope I'm saying your name right. The Onyx bar, my new Leonidas barbell. You shaved your beard, I did, but you know what, guys? I'm a fast grower. Like, this is a 5-day beard. You know? Like, it's just annoying. Like, I can shave in the morning, and by nighttime, I have very thick stubble. So I'm quite literally one of those guys who has to do it every single day. And it sucks. And, like, I have to do like 3 passes with a freaking double-edged safety razor. So if that's happening to me, then it's like, fuck this. You look like a serial killer, no offense. Sheesh. That's not very nice, man. Greek genetics. Yeah. Alex, is your heritage Italian? I'm split. Italian, Greek. Like, literally, like, even, you know? Look like a beast with your beard. I'm probably going to grow out the Kratos beard. I can get it down this low. You know, I'm thinking about doing it. Kind of getting that itch for it, you know? We'll see. I like this clean look, though. Do you still train your neck? I do. I do, guys. And you know what? Look at my freaking neck. It's coming back up. You know? Like my freaking traps. Neck and traps. Got to get yoked. I've been back on it, guys. So those days of skipping neck are over. I'm doing like 4 plates on the neck extension machine. 4-way at the gym. And I'm not a bar guy, but here's exactly where to find the best bars in Montreal. That's funny. Well, look, I would go to the East End in Montreal. That's where it is. Fuck downtown. But yeah, guys, I'm training my neck. I want to get like max status again, and so far it's going well. But I did neglect my neck for many years. Have you ever used finasteride? Any side effects? Nope. I've never touched that. What I consider to be poison. I'm never using that. And I've given up on curing my hair loss. Actually, guys, I'm going to say this right now. I was offered a free hair transplant in Turkey. I had some major company email me. And there's other influencers in my industry who have gone with this place. Like, there's a lot of them, okay? And they even showed me, like, we went with this guy, okay? And I was hit up, and I just never responded to the email because I don't want to get a hair transplant. I don't want to go through that shit, and I don't want to take finasteride for the rest of my life either because they can restore it, but then it's like you'll still lose the hair in the back. So, you know what? I'd rather just go all the way bald, which looks great on me anyway. And if I want to restore my hairline, I could just get SMP done. Get a light job done. It's going to look real clean. And that's the end of it. But I didn't want to go through that. And what? To bring me down to a Norwood 2 to top it off? Because they're not going to restore me to a 1. I've lost too much hair in the back for that to happen. So yeah, I'm embracing this all the way. But I could have done it. I could have easily taken minoxidil 5%, finasteride every day, gotten the transplant for free, okay? This is like a $5,000 job, and they're saying, here, we're going to give it for you. And I said, nope, I don't want to do it. So I made the choice, and I'm sticking to being bald. And I personally love the look. And that's not cope because I have a fucking choice. You dumbasses were saying otherwise. I got offered it for free. Not too many people are in my position. And by the way, when I use insulting terms, it's for those who are also being mean-spirited. I'm not talking about the guys who are being supportive. The prodigy of bodybuilding. You look dope bald anyways because you got a nice beard and good head shape. Well, thank you, brother. You have the head shape for it. Thank you. Man, I'm proud of you. Proud of you too. Rear lat spread, the ultimate OG. You look sick bald too. Hey, bald is beautiful. When I used to play RuneScape back in the day, remember there was level 3 bots that everyone, you'd see these guys, they were bald with the little goatee, with the green attire, right? We would see these dudes and we would yell, "We are the baldies, no time for Harrys." And we just troll them. And it was funny. But I was like a kid, Little did I realize that one day I would go bald. So that's the situation. I give up. Sad face. Do you take Citruline? I do. Yeah. If I want a sick pump, look my best in front of a camera, I'm going to be on it for sure. But I don't notice any performance benefits. It's just you get a more vascularity. Did you have a RuneScape girlfriend? Man, if it was a girlfriend on the other side. What age do you think your muscle mass will peak? For me personally, somewhere, it's either going to be in my late 30s or mid 40s. I don't entirely know. They say that strength athletes, their peak is 35 years old. I think I have a lot more progress to make. Like, if you give me another decade, I don't know. I can put on another 5-10 pounds of muscle. Who the hell knows? If my arms were 17 and a quarter, could I get them up to 18 inches in the next decade? Then I would say probably. If I showed up at single digit 155 body weight, and in a competitive sense, the weight limit is 165 pounds for my height, which it is, could I achieve that? Could I be 165 pounds at 6-7% body fat in the next 10 years? And honestly, I think the answer is yes. And that's you're pretty tapped out after that point. It's going to be very, very difficult to make gains. But I could see it. I could see another inch on my arms, maybe another 2 inches on the larger body parts. But I will say this, there's not a lot of growth left for me. Maybe strength, there's more potential. I definitely see a 440 bench. Maybe if I really bulk up, a 500 is possible, but I don't know. But there's potential that I've yet to tap for sure. Maybe a 275 OHB is possible. At least 250 for sure. I've already done that seated, right? But the measurements and the lean body mass, that's where it's going to be a little bit tricky. Another inch on all the body parts, yeah, 100%. But I think my legs are going to tap out very soon, if not already. Because I don't want to grow them anymore. I know that sounds insane, but I probably have the genetic potential to squat somewhere in the 600s, maybe lifetime 700. I have no clue. But to do that, I might end up with 29-inch, maybe 30-inch legs. And I would find that repulsive on my short 5'5" frame. And I'm short because of my femurs. So that would look insanely stubby. So I'm happy with my 507 squat. I think even 600 would be pushing it in terms of the aesthetic look. It would mess up my proportions. I don't like that. But I do think that bigger calves would be phenomenal. If I can get my calves up to the same size as my arms, that's basically all I need. And if I can build up my lower hamstrings a bit more. But yeah, we're seeing here, 27 inches at 5'5", bro. My thighs were rubbing together. You know, you're wearing extra large underwear and it's still fucking tight. You have this huge ass sticking out. Like you turn sideways, you look like you got some work done, you know? It is a repulsive look. It's really like, I don't like it. So this guy says I take Kinobody approach for my legs. I generally agree with that, you know, or what Steve Reeves used to recommend. Like just having a classic V-taper looks so much better, you know? And that's one of the problems I do have with natural bodybuilding today. The leg standards are too high. The outer quad sweep is repulsive. It doesn't look classic. None of the silver era guys look like that, including the freaking golden era. So you're expected to have these huge shredded legs. I don't know, man. It's a wild look. Not my cup of tea. This was all right. Kinobody has chicken legs. That's what you're saying, but can you do Nordic curls for reps like him? I can't even do 1 rep. His legs could be bigger, but you know, he's got his performance in the areas that he cares about. To each his own, right? Reverse Nordic curls, Milo style, all you need for leg aesthetics. It's all you need for your VMO, and that's basically what I did before the exercise got popular. Like that's what I did throughout the entirety of 2023. I didn't do any leg extensions, and it worked wonders. In addition to pendulum sissy squats, rest in peace, Doug Brignoli. Yeah, it's awesome, guys. That's the reason why I'm not going to buy a leg extension leg curl for my home setup. I'm just going to do reverse Nordics and try to build up to a regular Nordic. If I get my hands on the Buzzsaw bench by Bells of Steel, I'm going to do like progressive range of motion. So like you start on an incline bench and you gradually lower it. I've tried with reverse bands. I'm going to keep trying, but I just find it so damn difficult. Like I could do JHRs, but I can't do the freaking Nordic. But yet I could do RDLs with 4.5 plates for 10 reps. I could do 4 or 5, 15 reps. I could deadlift 600 pounds, but I can't do a single Nordic curl. It's just so difficult. But that's what I'm saying. You can have the isolated strength in that particular aspect of the hamstrings. When I flex my hamstrings, like there's a lot of muscle there, but I just don't have that joint specific strength, you know? So you got to train for it. You lost my super chat. Well, let's go back to that, shall we? This is why I say nuts are a far third on the fitness scale. Dedication and programming are 1 and 2. I don't know what you mean by that statement, but I would agree that nuts are not what's going to make or break your physique, and some people are nut intolerant as well. So, only thing I'm going to say is it's awesome when you make sauces out of walnuts. Like blend that shit up with some kale and put that in your pasta. It tastes so good. And you can actually make a meal that was not the healthiest into like a health promoting dish. So for example, blend up some, I think he means balls. Damn, dude. Oh, you mean like testosterone? Imagine. Well, regardless, let's address this for nuts, okay? Blend up a cup of walnuts, no more than that, with like 5 cloves of raw garlic, with some some leek, and like let's say 5 heads worth of kale, and then mix it with some soy milk and nutritional yeast. Use that as the base of your sauce, and then from there you're going to want to throw in some mushrooms and broccoli into the sauce with a bit of tomato paste. Mix it up, you know, start stirring it, cook it real good, and then for the pasta, just pick whatever you like. Whole grain would be best. You know, you can even use like sorghum pasta, okay? And add in like some chickpeas into that mixture, or some white kidney beans and optional broccoli to go with that dish. And what you will end up with is this dish that's so tasty and filled with micronutrients. And normally I'm able to consume a whole thing of pasta in one shot, like red sauce with the TVP. I can do it all, right? But the moment you mix in the vegetables and the nuts and it's all blended up, bro, you're not able to. So you're going to have half of it. You will have leftovers for the next day. And you're going to get all your nutrients. Dog, I'm on a budget out here. It's not expensive. We're going to end up buying your freaking cookbook. Well, you know what? Maybe I should do a cookbook. Because I do have family members who are vegan. And I'm doing this now. And I love cooking. It's one of my passions, actually. I just don't share it on the channel because I've always kept it to lifting. But you know what? With things changing with me soon, stay tuned. I think it's going to be about time that I start doing that. And it's going to be an actual health anabolic cookbook, not the alternatives that I'm seeing. So yeah, stay tuned. It's everything is one step at a time, right? Yeah, this guy's like low-fat meat is pretty expensive. Meat in general is crazy expensive. I remember when I was cutting last year, because I had started buying it again. It was like $4.99 for a pack of ground turkey, and the lean chicken was $3.99. Now, well, before I went vegan, so let's say December of last year, it was going for $8.99. So I'm guessing it might be like $10 a pack now, which is crazy as hell. But nowadays, like if you just get a pack of TVP, first of all, it's like $10, and you're gonna have more than 5 meals just off that. But if you buy the one in bulk, so in Quebec we have this place called Méran, okay? Get over there, and you can buy, I believe it's a 5 kilogram or 10 kilogram bag of TVP, and that's like the same as ground beef in terms of the texture and the portions and all that, and it's gonna cost you nothing. And you're going to have it for months and months and months. Even your freaking beans, like you buy the 10-pound bag, you're good, bro. So it's the cheapest way to eat. This is like poor man's food. But it's also health promoting and tastes real good if you know what you're doing. So that's what I'd recommend. Buy your beans in bulk. Buy your TVP in bulk. Save that money. Get your protein intake. It's a done deal. And I'll show you all that stuff if you want to see more of it, you know. Edible CBD. So I told you before that I never smoked weed in my life, but I did try CBD oil one time, and I can't say I noticed anything from it. In addition to those little gummies, didn't do shit for me, man. Maybe it helped me sleep just a little bit better, but I bought one little batch and never again. So I think it's overhyped for sure. Yeah, let me go back to that super chat. Mr. Summoned. Oh, what deficit percentage on a 4-week mini cut? Minimal cardio. If it's going to be a mini cut, might as well be slightly more aggressive, especially if you're going to do minimal cardio, because in that case, you're not compensating through the additional caloric burn. So although I can't recommend the thing is, we can talk about percentages, but it's like I would more so base it off like how much weight are you losing in a week. So what I would consider to be a normal cut is a pound a week. But if you're going to do like a 1 month mini cut, you should probably aim for at least 2 pounds a week. And maybe you could do that at the start. And so by the end of this mini cut, you should have lost 6 to 8 pounds of fat. And if you want to go even more aggressive, just have a nice round number, you can do 10 pounds of fat loss in 1 month. And realistically, I'm just going to say this. You are going to experience that just because of the water weight. But, like, know what it is, okay? So if you lost 6 pounds of fat, like, let's say, I don't know, you were like a 7% caloric deficit or something. You know, like 5% is going to give you normal weight loss. 10% is a bit more aggressive. Let's say you're somewhere in between, right? And by the end of that month, you lost 6 pounds of pure body fat. On the scale, it might show that you lost 10 pounds, but it's not all fat. And especially if you deplete your carbohydrates, which I recommend you don't do, that's going to further add on to that value. So I would say keep your macros the same. Don't change anything, except just eat less food. And you won't have to do any cardio. Cardio is really reserved for the end stages, if you ask me, or you generally want to be more fit. But you can get to a pretty low body fat without doing it. You know, like... even when we talk about rebounding, you don't necessarily have to. Like last year, I barely did any cardio. It was more difficult at the end. This year, it was definitely easier with the addition of it, but it can still be done. Like you can get as lean as you want as long as you know what you're doing with your diet. But definitely track everything. Make sure you're eating the same foods every day. Keep it consistent, and there shouldn't be any difficulties. But obsessing about the precise amount, like the actual percentage, I'll be honest, guys, I never do that. I just track the scale every week, and whatever my maintenance calories is, I go a little bit less and I calibrate accordingly. Like I know that for me to hit single digit, I need to consume 1,800 calories a day. Whereas if I'm having like 2,300 calories a day, I might end up at 12% body fat. So logically, like I can play with those numbers a bit easier, but you got to know what those are as you do many bulks and cuts throughout the years. You know, like usually if I'm bulking, I can probably get 3,500, 4,000 calories. Like that's like a general chill zone, you know. But okay, like you know how Jeff Nippert says when you're getting out of a shredded state, you can go right back to your regular maintenance calories. That pertains to the end destination weight. In the same way, I would apply that to the reversal when you're cutting. So like if you know that you can get down to 12% body fat on 2,500 calories, just go straight to that on your mini cut, and you should be good to go. Even if you were consuming 3,200 right now, you can go that aggressive. Like whatever food you need to maintain for that end goal body fat, you can jump straight into it because you've already chosen to go aggressive. So it's only gonna be a month, right? Why not? We're gonna get banned. Ha ha ha. Why would you get banned? I don't see any negative comments here. You're saying calisthenics program. I don't have a date for that yet, but I'll be honest, guys. With how busy my life has been in certain aspects, you're probably gonna get the 405 bench program first, which is gonna be easier to create. So I might have to hold off on the calisthenics one for now. And the 405 bench program would be for anyone who is considered advanced. Like if you have like at least a 275 to 3-plate bench, it is designed to give you that last 100 pounds. And it's going to be the way that I program with my conjugate thought process. And it's not going to be for everyone. Like it's neglecting a lot of people here. You need to have the equipment and the necessary strength. But if you run it, you could bench 405. Like it's actually possible. And even if you don't, like within a couple training cycles or whatever, because it's going to be a long-term program, right? You'll probably get at least 350. It will not be for free though. Like this is going to be a very meticulous program that's based off what I did initially. Like I'm just going to tell you right now, okay, since you guys are live, if you go on my Instagram page and you scroll back to 2021, you can see the max set for lifts that I chose, what exercises I was doing. I've already documented for you for free. In addition to this YouTube page, look on the playlist, full body workouts. They're there. Basically, I'm going to be going back to those workouts and compiling everything, literally writing it all down, and then mixing it with some of my knowledge that I have nowadays, like the newer lessons, and like sequencing it in a way that delivers the best recovery between sessions and actually making some logical blocks here. And that's what you're going to end up with. It's going to be like a compilation of what I know works for actually building a 405 bench, having done it. Like this is not hypothetical, it's legit stuff. Like, so because everything has been filmed over the years, I know what I have to give you. I just have to piece it all in a way that is coherent. And of course, I need to refine it because it's all over the place, right? But that kind of system, like it's going to be conjugate only. And I'm thinking about making a double max effort so that it really has to be dialed in. And I'm forcing you to have your shit together. Like the only way you can run that program is if you're in a calorie surplus, you're going to embrace the bare mode lifestyle, and you're going to buy the things that I tell you to buy. Like you're going to need to have access to accommodating resistance, at least a set of bands. And you're going to be better off owning a Swiss bar as well. You're going to be doing flat benching and floor pressing. And even though people might not like this, you will be doing standing overhead presses because that's what I did to get my 405 bench. and it keeps your rotator cuffs healthy. So I know some powerlifters might not like it because it's not a pure bench system in a sense, but it will get you there. How long is the program? Probably going to be a 6-month program, which is really fucking long. But when I look at the blocks that I was running, like when I went through all my exercise rotation, that's realistically what it was. So the minimum would be 3 months, but a 6-month system is a lot more realistic. So it's going to be a long, brutal program because it's not something like you're not going to get 4 or 5 after running the whole system once. Like you might have to do it a couple times, right? But the system will be there in place for you. So that's where I'm approaching this, and you're gonna see like it's nothing like you've ever seen before. I can promise you that. Like I'm the only person who's refined the system in this way, where it's like double max effort, conjugate with these specific movements. Like I did it. So yeah, it could be run back to back for sure. But please give me some time for that. I'm gonna try to get it by the end of the year. All right. Fan funding. My God, these questions. You guys rock. And I hope I don't sound annoyed. I'm just tired. It's getting later. Well, it's only 5 o'clock soon, but I still got to work out. I got to clean and I got to work out. That's always on Fridays. I didn't think we'd be going, 3 hours. No wonder. It's actually tiring to talk for that long, guys, especially when you're more introverted like me. It's a skill that you learn to speak in front of a camera, but it's like you're always thinking about what you're going to say next, you know? It's awesome to see you go plant-based. Have you gotten any... No one already answered this. No, it's been great. Calisthenics on off days where you're not weightlifting. That is... Like I kind of talked about that before with the burpees. If you're going for maximum performance, it's probably going to interfere with your recovery. But... if you're using it as a GPP strategy and you're leaving a lot of reps in reserve, then it's probably doable. So like, if you're doing a couple sets of push-ups and pull-ups, just sub-maximal, getting that technique in, and you're like 5 reps away from failure, then it's probably possible. But again, you still have to factor in the joints, which might take longer to recover. And you're going to be weaker going into those movements. And certainly I wouldn't do this before like an important session, you know? But I will say this, like, sometimes I have to do that just to get my footage in for you guys. Like if I'm making a video on pull-ups and I've been accumulating footage over the last month, but it's like there's a segment in the video, like let's say 2 minutes remainder, where I'm lacking clips, then I will do some additional sets on my off days because like when else am I going to do it? Fuck. You know, I have a habit of thinking about the next word and I say it in advance. My brain is like racing. Anyone relate to that? But yeah, guys, you just have to be very mindful, and also don't be running a high frequency program if you're going to do high frequency calisthenics additional. So like twice a week for your presses and pulls, pretty much all you got to do. This way you can at least hit your calisthenics twice a week on top of that, so you're getting a total of 4 times a week, but you have some like element of recovery blended in. You know? All right. Thoughts on super heavyweight calisthenics. I did a 75-pound weighted chin-up at 268. Most calisthenics guys are smaller. So let's calculate what that is, okay? I already know it's impressive, but that's a 340-pound chin-up. That is... elite stuff, man. Like, to me, anyone who could do a 300-pound weighted chin, total weight, is up there. So, like, for example, if I was 150 doing 150 pounds, that's like 300, and you're doing 40 pounds above that, which is basically the equivalent of a lightweight doing 4 plates on the weighted chin. So what I'm saying is you're not even at 2 plates, but your strength is the same as someone who lifts someone who's 100 pounds lighter than you, but has 2 plates additional. So what are my thoughts on super heavyweight calisthenics athletes? They're freaking badasses. I respect the hell out of it, especially like if they're doing bodyweight pull-ups at 300 pounds or 250, like that's impressive stuff to see. And the standards still apply, you know? So when guys are like, oh, your pull-up standards are insane, like, no, I'm talking about the total load here. Not everyone needs to be doing 3-4 plates like your boy. I just happen to be a shorter guy who doesn't weigh as much. But you know what? Even when I'm 200 pounds, I could still do 3 plates on the way to pull up, no problem. I could rep that shit. So if you guys are not repping it, then you're just weak. And that's why your back is unimpressive. You know, there's no excuse. Every heavyweight guy should be able to do it. And if they can't, their back is just weak. It's as simple as that. Again, equating for all these other factors that I just talked about. And by the way, the guys who do heavyweight calisthenics tend to have the best physiques. Like, you're 268, man. If you cut down to 200 pounds, like, you're going to be a freak. First of all, you're going to have those plates automatically loaded on. And it's actually going to be motivating because in your mind, it's going to be as if you're getting stronger. Like, every 10 pounds you lose, like, you just getting to 250, you're going to be repping 2 plates. You know? So imagine when you get down to 225, 200, like, you're in for a real treat. So, see what's possible, homie. What diet are you using? What books, video, seminars do you recommend to watch and learn? So, whole food, plant-based, 100% vegan. I would recommend you check out Dr. Furman, Dr. Greger, Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn. Make sure to check out the nutritionfacts.org channel. I have some on my subscriptions feed. Mike the Vegan, he's worth considering. Goji Man, if you want to learn more about the gut. Check out Vegan Linked. He interviews a lot of plant-based athletes and doctors. Check out Plant Chompers for a lot of debunking information. Like, he does these deep dives. Simnett Nutrition is awesome. Plant-based news if you want to get all the updates on that. Brian Turner, of course. Nimai Delgado for some bodybuilding motivation. You might not like him, but Vegan Gains actually knows his shit if you watch his debates. Just saying. And I was on his channel recently. He interviewed me, you know. So there's a lot of, I would say if you start with that, you'll be good. And the most important book you could read is probably How Not to Diet by Michael Greger. It you know, and there's, unlike these carnivore people, he actually has thousands and thousands of references. And his newest book, I don't know if it's like 13,000 references or 30,000. I forget the number, but he's worth considering for sure. What's going on here? Top chat. Jefferson Curls. I don't have a tremendous amount of experience with it. Like, I've done 135 pounds for reps, which is sucky, but like, it's easy for me, you know? Like, I've done ass to grass good mornings with 185. So similar range of motion to that Jefferson, but the bar is on my back instead of my hands. I think it's a great lift. I just haven't gone as heavy as I should, you know? So I think Atlas Power Shrugged is great, and he's the one who's really talking about this nowadays. You should subscribe to him, watch his stuff on Instagram. He'll show you the way. You know, and I used to do a lot of like deep zerchers and stuff like that. But the Jefferson is one that I need to play more with. It might be up my alley at this stage, just because I've gotten really strong at all the hip hinges. Rack pulls below the knee are heavy. RDLs are heavy. Good mornings are heavy. 3 plays for reps. It's like, maybe I do need some Jeffersons just to get more out of less weight. Old school bodybuilders didn't train their traps as much because they thought it would make them more narrow. But funny enough, they used a chest expander, which was building their yoke. So it didn't make much of a difference anyway, right? How many of these he's actually read? Come on, maybe if you had access to ChatGPT, it's plausible. But to really dissect the studies and know the limitations, you can't read as many. Well, look, that's why he hired a fact checker. So he doesn't have to necessarily check everything. He has an entire team working behind him. So he's the one writing the books, but he's looked at the research, and he's, you know, there's people on the side who are helping him as well. So it's not a one-man show. And ultimately, he's presenting the best data that we do have. So I think I'm going to side with that instead of mechanistic speculations about ideas that most nutritional experts don't agree on. And again, I just find it laughable that when it comes to the fitness community, you'll see these actual garbage studies that people will rave about, but then when there's good nutritional science, they'll disregard it because it doesn't fit their bias. It's like you can't be a cherry picker when it comes to this. It's like, you know how Jeff Nipper became so popular talking about science-based training and all that? People love it, right? As do I. I like learning about it. I'm subscribed to various newsletters and whatnot. But the moment you start talking about nutritional science and it's saying, oh, you probably want to reduce certain things. It's like, oh, people get defensive, but we've been doing this for this long and whatever. And it's like excuse after excuse after excuse. And it's like you can't just be in favor of the exercise stuff, which is usually done with freaking noobs and less sample sizes, not done as long. But then when you have actual good meta-analyses, you're like, no, I'm not going to agree with this. Like, it's just contradictory, guys. So you have to look at all the evidence and, make rational choices off that. And that's what I'm choosing to do. It's pretty simple. And even when it comes to lifting, I do mix in the good studies. Like when there's proper biomechanics in play, when there's proper volume research, like I'm going to apply that shit. Like with the longer rest intervals, the 2 sets, knowing about motor unit recruitment and effort. Like I'm not going to go to failure every set, but I will leave a rep in the tank. I'm going to strain. I'm going to train hard. I'm going to get about 6 sets of muscle per workout. Like this stuff is great. The length and position. But I can apply that with my old school lifts and, it's great. So like I'm doing that with nutrition and lifting. But it's like you got to be logically consistent with this stuff, So fan funding. I think we've covered most of these questions. OHB, 2 plates. I gave that advice before, my man. Oh God. So my Dev, you're asking me about an app for hardcore lifters with features conjugate training, auto RPE. What are some of the features that most apps miss? Well, look, I'm going to tell you what they're missing, and it's the conjugate system. They don't effectively program enough exercise variation or use accommodating resistance or like have any waves built into it. So that's like, there is an app right now that has become very popular, and what people don't know about this is that I was actually one of the original testers for it. I was recruited early on before everybody else because I am a fitness influencer with certain connections. And I tried it out for a good month, and I wasn't really a fan, even though I can see it's applicable to most people. It wasn't applicable to me because there was no conjugate element. So I had a hard time programming in this exercise rotation. Like it just didn't work, And that's the primary issue that I see. There's yet to be one that like factors this in. I'm not going to mention which one it is, but you've already heard of it. I can promise you that. And it's awesome. Like I would give it a 10 on 10 rating. Well, actually, no, I can't give it a 10. I would give it a 9 on 10 or an 8 on 10. But it's missing certain things that it just doesn't work for my high intensity conjugate thought process. So if you can build that in, like that would be freaking awesome. All right. Your videos help me get back in shape while starting up my new business. Can you please shout out the new ice cream van? Ice Wallow. Oh no. Dude, you can't fool me with that stuff. Thank you and keep up the good work. So this guy's company, it's called Ice Wallow Come. That is what he has chosen to name his company. So congratulations to you. And I hope that no kids go near your van. All right. But thanks for that donation, man. I appreciate it. Do you have any tips for gripping dip bars? My hands slip during longer sets. Well, first of all, you should chalk up on your dips, and because you're probably working out at a commercial gym where they have those like smooth chromed out handles, or they're old school, right? There's no knurling whatsoever. Like when you have at least a powder coat, the grip is sufficient. But if it's like the inside of a barbell, the smooths, then that's the issue you're experiencing. And so chalk is the default, but you might still have issues just because of the smoothness. And so in this case, I might even recommend attaching some fat grips onto the dip bars. At least you have some gripping element. Now it's not going to slide all over the place. And it even has the added benefit of protecting the wrists ever so slightly and maybe reducing some of that shoulder overuse. Because when you have a thicker handle on dips, there's less instability. And you'll actually see this with the newer ones coming out. They're not meant like an inch thick anymore. I remember years ago, I got tremendous forearm pain from that. It was this old school dip tower. The freaking handles were so narrow, and they were even positioned internally rotated. So I'm in this awful position with these shitty handles, and it was like so unstable, and I strained my forearm doing that stuff. Like that's why I stopped doing weighted dips. I'd cap myself at 5 plates because whenever I would go up to those weights, I would have issues. But then when I got my home gym, the dip bars were actually excessively thick. I think they were like 3 inches thick, which was fine in terms of preventing overuse. But then my rack itself was unstable. So it's like it would shake like a freaking washing machine. OGs remember the rattling, right? It was awful. But I still did it. I still did 5 plates, but I never went beyond because it just never felt safe, right? But then I got the Bells of Steel one, and they finally nailed it. The only thing they could have done better was that, again, they followed that internally rotated design. But the powder coat and the thick enough handle with good grip was perfect. And also the spacing is good. But the workaround there is you face the other way around. So you get yourself a good Bells of Steel rack with a dip attachment. You're going to be able to overload like a motherfucker. It's not going to go anywhere. So you see me do 5 plates for 5 reps and 5.5 plates for a single. So the setup is everything, but definitely you're working with a smooth, old setup that sucks. And fat grips might be up your alley for sure. Whew. Going 3.5 hours, guys. Freak, I'm thirsty. Is there anything I missed here? I think we are good. We've addressed all the super chat questions. We got one more here, and then we'll answer some live stuff again. You don't wear knee sleeves, but you wear elbow sleeves. Yeah, and you know why, man? I just find knee sleeves annoying. Like, I'm someone who likes to pace between sets. And in general, I like having full movement of my legs. Like, the thing is, with your arms, right? They're already going to be straight, and you're not doing much with them, And I'm not one to, like, text between sets and do stuff like that. I'm more zen. But with the legs, man, first of all, they never fit right, these sleeves. And I've tried every single size from various companies. Like, I've been sent some of the best sleeves around. I've done large, XL, and they either slide off or they're like loose in certain areas. It's like I have a weird structure. I got like these, like it's skinny. Like, first of all, I have a hard time getting it past my calves, which is strange. But then the knee area itself is like a bit skinnier, but I have this thick VMO. Then the moment you get up to the quad, it's like so thick that it just doesn't slide on right. Whereas the arm is more consistent. Actually, the limiting factor with the elbow sleeves is the freaking forearms. Because they're so big, I can't get it past the forearm. So I tried getting some. Look at my biceps, by the way. You see how much they freaking improved? I got that damn dent. I never used to have that. Hell yeah. Barbell curls. I'm doing 135 now. But yeah, the forearm is so big. I can't wear large. Like, it has to be XL minimum, or else like it gets stuck at the brachialis. Okay. The brachial radialis. That's the brachialis. That's the brachioradialis. Okay. So, but sleeves, I have a hard time getting them on, and they don't feel right when I'm squatting. I don't like the sensation, man. And I feel like as long as I keep my ego in check, like I don't really get knee pain, you know? If I'm overloading too much, if I'm constantly maxing out on squats, maybe then I can get some overuse if my volume's excessive. But if I'm picking the right lifts, generally not an issue. But the elbows, the reason why I wear the sleeves all the time is because I have hypermobility. And I think this is a good way to scare you guys away from this stream. So this is you, okay? A normal human being, I think we could agree, would be something like this. You would say this is a locked arm, right? This is my locked arm. Okay, this is you. This is you. This looks normal. That's me. It looks like a broken fucking arm. Like someone just armbarred me in jiu-jitsu. Okay? So this is you. So for these fucking people who keep saying, "Oh, Alex, you're wearing elbow sleeves." No, do you understand? And yes, I was born that way. I'm sorry to have scared you. And this is why everybody should listen to me when it comes to reducing elbow pain, because I am the one candidate. I should be the guy who's snapped up to the gills. Bro is immune to arm bars. Yep. I did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for 3 months, and they tried doing that on me, and they weren't able. I'm like, okay, try, bro. So that's why I wear elbow sleeves. It's an actual deformity in my damn elbows, and I'm not going to not wear them because, like, I need as much compression I can get. And it actually helps in me preventing that hyperextension at the lockout. Like when I have those thick sleeves on, it's like I'll hit a normal range of motion. So, yeah. .405 bench and 225 OHP with that is insane. It's been a real issue for the overhead press because what I've always told people is when I'm vertical, right? When I get about here, the elbow will hyperextend in front of the body, and it creates this larger moment arm. So I have a hard time locking weights out. But with the bench press, it doesn't really matter if it deviates a little bit horizontally because I am pressing in a flat plane of motion, you know what I'm saying? But the higher up the incline is, the more issues I have. And then when you're vertical all the way, it's like, specifically with a barbell, it's an issue. Not a dumbbell. Actually, dumbbells are fine. But the bar is, it could be a bit restrictive, for sure. Do you eat junk food? Not really. If I do, it's like at a gathering, like a plant-based burger, some alternative, you know. But overall, I eat really clean. We don't have any junk in the house. And my saturated fat intake is like bottom low. I don't have products that feature coconut oil or palm oil or any of that garbage, you know. I sent a super chat. What? I thought I answered all these questions. La art de séduction. Est-ce que les squats et deadlift vont me donner une midsection plus fort? Should I stop training abs if my goal is to have the most aesthetic waist? No, you should train your abs, because that'll make them pop out a little bit more, maybe by an inch at the most, and that can allow you to see them better through a higher body fat percentage. The weight is being distributed through a larger surface area. And, it's like, if you never worked out your abs whatsoever, like you see all these skinny fat dudes who they're not that bad, like they're 15% body fat, but you don't see any definition in their midsection. And then when they cut down to 10%, they just look like a skinny guy with barely defined abs. There's no real pop there because they never grew the muscle. And the other thing is, you don't want to just perform high rep crunches. Like that's probably going to be junk volume once you're past like 30, 50 reps or so. You're just getting a burn for nothing, and the pain sensation is so intense that you will prematurely stop. And so I'd recommend do some weighted crunches. Have a weight plate behind your head, or do some cable crunches and some leg raises, and then do some freaking any axial loaded motion, because isometrics still build your abs. It's like there's kind of some truth to that statement. You know how people say if you have enough weight on your back, you kind of don't have to crunch? Well, in my experience, that tends to be true, because you're contracting your abs so hard, like this weight is trying to crush your spine, that the effort is still high enough that you could get some stimulation, like enough that you at least see something popping out. And just to say, like, I barely trained my abs in recent years. I used to back in the day, but because I've done so much squatting and deadlifting and rack pulls and all this shit, it's like I have a thick midsection, and that's always going to pop out at a higher body fat. But it's because I did years of this overloading stuff, so it's inefficient. It's not the best way, but you will see it, and strongman competitors are notorious for that. So you should probably train your abs, though, if I'm being honest. Like, do some GHD sit-ups, do some decline sit-ups with a plate. Like, that's gonna ruin you, bro. But training your abs is only gonna make your midsection look better. Especially, like, if you have a naturally wider waist, there's nothing you could do about it. It's never gonna change. So at least make it the most jacked midsection you could have, right? Thoughts on jacked fit? Do you ever think you'll ever hit 315? I have no idea who that guy is. Thank you for the donation. I can look him up if you want. Jack's fit. He just looks like some skinny dude. Does he have like a broken arm? I'm sorry, man. I don't know who this guy is. I'm not really in the loop with these newer people. Unless, like, I'm shared, like you just said. Just read the chat. Are you vegan? Yes, sir. G. Ali. Let me see what you just said. Just a thumbs up. Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Sometimes that's all you need. How to fix butt wink. Hold on a second. And core folding while doing heavy squats. Also, when doing 80 kilogram pull-up, 1 max, I get pain in my upper forearm that I lose strength. Oh, talking about golfer's elbow, my man. Well, first of all, that's freaking 80 kilos, so respect for that shit. Most guys will never do it. Like, you are an elite pull-up beast. The forearm stimulation is intense, as you can see. That's been the secret to my development, in addition to having the good genetics there. But pull-ups will certainly grow your forearms and improve your grip, and it'll build a V-taper of the gods. So grats again. But so I can't say that your back is a weakness, and therefore I cannot apply that to this butt wink situation from the squats. And so, I mean, there's two lines of thought here, okay? The first is that you're folding over because your posterior chain is so strong, and you're therefore trying to turn it into a good morning. The strongest muscle groups always take over, right? It's like someone who's tricep dominant. They might not want to flare their elbows out on a bench press. They're going to keep it maximally tucked in because that muscle is so overdeveloped that it just feels better for them, leverage-wise. Well, it's kind of the same thing with the squats. You can say that if your glutes and spinal erectors are massive, and your good morning is not too far off from your squat, and you have a hard time driving off with the quads in the bottom and maintaining an upright torso, then you might just assume that good morning position. So it's like the back side of your legs is probably way too strong, which is fine if you're just trying to lift the biggest loads. Like, that's generally how a lot of power squats are. But it seems to me like you just need bigger quads, and that's a typical powerlifter issue, So what I would recommend is, first of all, stop doing this low bar squat altogether. You don't have to. Start performing high bar squats with some heel elevation. So I'd recommend some Olympic weightlifting shoes. Something that's no more than 2 inches high will get the job done. You'll maximize knee flexion in the bottom, and it'll give you the leverages of someone who has a better structure for squatting. Like, you'll have that Tom Platz build just by wearing these damn heeled shoes. And if that doesn't work for you, then you can elevate even further. Like just buy some dedicated squat wedges. But most people should be able. There was a great chart by N1 Education where he shows, like, I believe it was a lifter with long femurs, and he shows the before and after, like barefoot versus squat shoes, and it's significant difference. You can see the moment arm at the knee and the back angle. And so oftentimes the simplest solution ever is literally just wearing the damn shoes and switching to high bar squats. Otherwise, good mornings could also help. Actually, it'll force you to shoot the knees forward and keep that back upright. Otherwise, you will dump the bar. I would not say Zercher squats, even though they could be more quad biased if you force an upright torso. But the thing is, usually when you get strong on that lift, you're naturally going to hinge more into it. And that's personally what happens to me. Like, in fact, in 2017, I was only doing Zerchers, and I did a 435 full range of motion off the floor. But I couldn't do like a 440 back squat. I mean, I never tried. I wouldn't have known at the time. But the reason why I was able to Zercher that much compared to, say, a high bar is because I hinged it all the way. I was doing so much posterior chain work that I basically just did like a freaking good morning almost. Like my hips shot all the way. Like you could see, like it's ass to grass in the bottom. I'm in that perfect position. I'm upright. But the moment I start coming out, the butt shoots up. I'm bent forward, and I was able to do it because I just used all my freaking ass, right? Sounds like you're going through that. So make front squats your default. Wear squat shoes. Switch to high bar if possible. And also use the safety squat bar if there's a technical demand of the front squat that you can't handle. And I would specifically use it in reverse. So the harder setting of the safety squat bar, which is going to feel one-to-one to a front squat. Like you're going to have to keep those elbows up, and you're going to feel it pulling down, which is also going to work the upper back, which is not your weakness in this case because your pull-up is freaking strong, but it's going to force you to work those damn quads. So that should be the primary way that you squat moving forward, and also make sure to hammer them with the quad bias accessories. So belt squats are going to be king, hack squats over leg presses, that kind of vibe, okay? And of course, doing it in a way that, like you're doing the hack squats with the feet lower down on the platform. So just build up that weak link, and you're going to be just fine. Oh man, Fit Ones with Varun. Thank you for the $100 donation. Appreciate all you do for the community. Well, I appreciate you for having me on your show, and we definitely have to do a part 2. You were a master at asking me self-reflection questions. And in fact, I'm going to put your channel right here so people can see it. Varun Strength. 1 second. Yeah, you changed your channel name. 1 second, boys. So here you go. You got 19,000 views. Good stuff. Here. 1 second. Oh, shit.
It's coming in and out.
See this?
So I didn't have...
This is my man, Varun. Look how great this video did. It was an eye-opening discussion. So you see, I talk about my origins of YouTube when I was a youngling, getting started. The benefits of weighted calisthenics, stimulus to fatigue, how I believe it's actually underrated, not overrated. Biomechanics, how to apply that and where you might be misguided. Getting you training information. Nutrition, this is like some kind of plant-based stuff. What training content that stands the test of time? That's like, how do you want to be relevant in this game long term? And that eventually boils down to the fitness YouTubers who fit this criteria. So I talk about all these guys. Yeah, OGs will remember. So check out this interview. It's freaking awesome. Okay. How do I fix gyno? I have no clue, bro. You're probably gonna have to get surgery for that. Or maybe your body fat is so high that you think you have gyno, when in reality, you don't. I had a friend who, like, he actually did have puberty-induced gyno, and he was overweight when he was a kid. But he got pretty lean, cleaned up his diet, and in his 20s, it naturally went away. But I think he had it until he was 22 or 23, which was quite late in his case. But eventually, his nipples evened out, so maybe there's some hope for you. I don't know, man. But and also be careful what you're taking. Like certain supplements, maybe it's laced. Okay. So guys, I think that's a good way to wrap up. We've been at this for 3 hours and 45 minutes, longer than I expected, but I had a feeling it was going to go this way just because I hadn't done a live stream in a while. So that's usually how it is. Like if I were to do this every week or so, it'd be different. So you gave me a lot of questions. Go train, bro. I have to, man. This is got to hit some heavy bench today. I'm debating if I'm going to do a floor press or like maybe a half board Larson press with 30 pounds of chains. It's going to be one of those two, or maybe something with the arch nemesis. Not entirely decided yet, but it's going to be some heavy ass bench for sure. It's going to be real heavy. And we're just going to keep building it up. So, man, thank you guys for being with me today. It was long, informative. We had fun. A lot of donations, a lot of back and forth. It was just, it was awesome. It was awesome to come back to this, and I want to make more. I want to do more live streams with this setup. You know, the black background, real clean, good audio, all that. And next time, I want to try to like figure out a way of putting these questions on the screen for you to see. I tried doing that like today, but it wanted to connect my YouTube channel to some weird app. And I didn't want to do that for like getting hacked or whatever. So I think there's StreamYard to consider. I might go with them. You know, it's like a paid service, but so be it. With all these donations, there you go. It's going to go right back into these streams, you know. And I do want to make some exclusive live streams moving forward if you catch my drift. So like some occasional ones like this and then some more frequent ones for those who really want a more private experience. So... Oh, man, get a green screen. I do have a green screen. I just prefer not to use it. I think the black background's a bit cleaner. So, yeah. Before you answer this, do you recommend an arm blaster or black garlic? Black garlic appears to be overrated, according to the data. Like, I would just go with the regular garlic. And the arm blaster, I used to own one. I got rid of it. It's not the same as a preacher curl because you still have that standing instability. And in fact... the back angle changes in a weird way, and you have to adjust it so that it fits your arm structure. I always found it difficult, like getting it on the elbow or on the tricep or slightly below. Like I always felt hunched over in an awkward way. Like it didn't have enough coverage, you know. So I find that like after 95 pounds or so, it just feels like a terrible lift. So that's been my experience with the arm blaster. It's good for sub-maximal loading, and you look jacked while doing it. But you're better off doing a 45 degree or 60 degree preacher curl for sure. One arm or with a barbell. Are we going to get timestamps? Man. Oh, I could try to do it. Maybe AI can help me with that. We got 3 hours and 48 minutes. I'm going to try. But you're going to have to give me a bit of time because I'll be busy tonight, you know. But if there is timestamps, you're going to see it in the title. It's going to be listed. And if not, well, so be it. This was a great live stream regardless, and I appreciate everyone for coming in. But I'm going to do my best. I'll try to get it in, okay? All right. So I see more questions are coming in, so I'm just going to stop it before it gets out of hand again. I have this habit of like, okay, I answer one, and next thing you know, we're up here for another hour. So you guys have a great night. Have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. Continue to train hard. Win stream, hell yeah. The OGs will be here for sure. Do your best always. And that's it. I'm signing off. This was wonderful. Let's do more of this moving forward. So, glute spread. Nope, that's not how we're going to end off. W, yes. Sad face. See you, Alex. Good night, my bald king. Oh, double bicep. You know? That freaking, yeah. Give you a forearm flex. Man, I gotta eat something. Okay. See you soon. See you, Alex. Do more streams, please. Will do. All right. Later, Vegan Beast. Good night. Like the vid, guys. Yeah. Make sure to like the video before you walk out. It does make a difference on these live streams. The algorithm, you never know what to expect with it. So just click and be on your way. See you, brother. See you at the buffet for sure. Crying emoji. Yeah, sorry, man. I'm not going to answer any more questions. We're done here. Okay. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you in the next live stream. You have a great weekend now. Yeah.